to start. I thought it was gonna start just as I was about to start talking. I was like, maybe not.
Oh my goodness, this guy. Okay, did you start it, Tyler?
Yep, it started.
Okay, welcome back to another episode of Wisco Fanatics, Packer episode. I am declaring this the Simon episode. Simon's getting all my camera time. He's going to get all his own camera time because he's on one today. I'm very excited to see how he breaks the game down.
Something.
This is going to be amazing. Simon had surgery, so he gets an excuse. You know what's
he's
good
always
for shoulder
stupid,
pain.
but
yeah,
you know what's good for shoulder pain, right?
If you look my butthole.
Yeah.
Someone got me with that.
No. How do you fall into that, bro?
Dude, I came into work on it, so I got some meds, and I came into work.
Wait.
And I was.
You drove into work on, bro?
No, I got a ride.
Oh, okay, good, smart.
Yeah, I got.
I was going to say that's terribly irresponsible.
And someone asked me that, and I didn't think twice about it, and I was like, "What?" I was like, "No."
For anyone that hasn't seen the movie Step Brothers, that's from Step Brothers.
Oh my gosh,
one of my all-time favorite movies.
Oh man,
it don't count, man.
So,
the sad part is someone in the army said that to you, Simon.
I know.
Oh gosh. Oh, here we go. So first, I wanted to mention that the Wisconsin Herd started tonight. So shout out to them starting their season. 2 Antetokounmpo Bros on the court tonight. Should be exciting. A lot of length, a lot of dunks. The other Antetokounmpos will be playing a game against the Minnesota Timberwolves tonight on ESPN. Undefeated Milwaukee Bucks. I know this is a Packer episode, but we're still Wisco Fanatics, and the Bucks are amazing right now without 3 of their better players. So really looking forward to that game.
Down tonight.
You think so?
I think so.
That's the game that Tyler, when we talked on Wednesday, that's the game that Tyler picked that if we lost the game, it would be the Timberwolves. I said the Hawks.
They got a lot of size on, in the paint. So
they do.
Well, I mean, the Bucks can roll a lineup of Giannis, Bobby Portis, and Brook Lopez and match anybody's size.
I mean, that's
Brooks playing a hell of a year.
I'm just trolling y'all. I am a Timberwolves fan, but I'm not a huge basketball fan.
You know what I said, Simon, about Brook Lopez? I said, dude, he had the most successful back surgery of all time. Dude is like 8 years younger, bro. Whatever they put in his back, we got Wakanda Forever coming up pretty soon. They put some vibranium in there or something. Yeah. I don't know what's going on, but holy shit, man. This guy is blocking shots at left and right. Dunking the ball. He looks crazy. Splash Mountain's back.
Splash Mountain, yeah.
Oh, man. He's amazing. I'm happy we have him. Can't wait to get Chris back, though. So, talking football, did you guys watch that game last night?
Yes, some of it. Most of it.
Oh, yeah, I did.
It actually kept it interesting until and then I shut it off at the start of the fourth. But I had a lot of fantasy players in there. But
what'd you guys think?
I think Damian Pierce is a stud.
Yeah,
and I'm glad I have him
monster
in my keeper and dynasty leagues.
So
I think that another team. I think the Eagles are very good, but this goes back to when I've been talking about the NFC. I don't think there's any there's no Bills per se in the NFC, right? There's no one that's like that team, or even I would even say the Chiefs. I think this year in the NFC, it's like you make the playoffs, you have a chance to make the Super Bowl in the NFC.
And you know what? In a couple weeks, we will get a measuring stick game against the Eagles. So I'm looking forward to that.
I just hope it matters.
Yeah, let's hope it matters. Let's play some speculation here. What do you guys think is going to happen with Brandon Cooks?
Yeah, I think they're going to release him.
Okay. If you had to make a prediction, where would he go?
I honestly think someone like the Bills will try to scoop him up. Now the caveat is it depends on when this happens, right? Now, if Green Bay, I have a feeling this is what my hope is, that we rip off the next 3 games in a row and get us back into the contention. Now, if it happens in a couple weeks and we're back at 500, I think he might come to play at Green Bay. If it's not him, it's OBJ, someone like that, if we need them. It also depends on where OBJ goes, see if that domino falls. I don't know what his health is looking like, but I could see him wanting to go somewhere like the Bills. I know the Rams have been wanting a wide receiver, but they're just as that rough shape as us.
What about like
So
a sneaky team like the Seahawks or something?
No,
don't think
the team that I'm saying is if he doesn't go to the Packers, he's going to go to the Cowboys.
Ooh,
Oh,
that'd be a good,
It's a
one,
good one, too.
I could see that.
It's a good one too.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
I know
at all.
Minnesota, for whatever reason, was trying to trade for somebody, but now that they got T.J. Hawkinson, they don't.
I heard a rumor that Cooks he said he wanted to play for the Vikings. I don't know if that's
really?
true, but
I don't know
Greg
why.
agrees with
Like,
me.
Oh, Greg. And Greg, you are right about Chauncey Gardner-Johnson because the Saints miss him too, I think. Just his mentality. Maybe not even just his ability, but having a guy that's just a bulldog on the field and having that he doesn't take shit attitude really shows an effect. I mean, the
He's
Packers,
having a disgustingly good year.
he is. And I don't agree with you that the Eagles are the deepest and most complete roster. I still think the Bills are the best team. Like
All right,
top to
Buffalo.
bottom, I think the Bills are the best team. And I think they're the best coach.
oh yeah,
Getting
Bills
into this, let's say I want to talk about David's question because Matt LaFleur actually did give a very valid answer to this question, I believe.
yeah, he did.
If you're paying Alexander more than any cornerback in the league, why isn't he following the number one receiver? And I asked myself that question while the game was going on, the couple times the Diggs got loose.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt LaFleur gave what I feel is a very valid answer, is that they didn't want to be playing a ton of man coverage and having their backs turned to Josh Allen. And now
That is fair.
I get that you don't want to give up chunk plays to Diggs, but Josh Allen, he's the MVP right now. And if you have a choice of playing zone coverage against the Bills or turning your back to Josh Allen, like I'd maybe mix in some zone coverage. So that was the answer that Matt LaFleur gave when he was asked why Jair wasn't on Diggs the entire game, was because they didn't want to play a lot of man coverage and have their backs turned to Josh Allen. So I think that's fair.
Yeah, I agree with his because I was looking for that too, and I agree. Like, because even there's a few times that he did kill us with his legs, and just imagine if he more times he looked up in the field and we had our backs turned because we were playing man coverage. Now It's not gonna be the same. Like now, if we come out of this game and Amon-Ra lights us up and Jaw was on him 3 times, and we're like, okay, we get it. He was lining up in the slot or something, but Jared Goff isn't gonna run for you know 80 yards and 2 touchdowns.
If you look at the 3 previous games, like Jair has been on the number 1 wide receiver. He was on Scary Terry. He's like, I don't remember if it was like 3 weeks ago that they really started doing more press coverage, and we noted that. So yes, it is just this one game, and I think it's going to be back to Jair shadowing when we get into this Detroit game. Jake's going to talk a little bit more about Jair with our second star, but Simon has our first star, Aaron Jones.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was a pretty unanimously easy one for us to choose. Like, Aaron Jones is he's such a fun player to watch. I say it like week after week. Like every time he touches the ball, it seems like something amazing could happen. And this game was kind of different. It was obviously he just dominated the game, right? He had 20 carries, 143 yards. But the way he dominated was kind of just crazy too. He had 13 missed tackles forced this game. And he had 106 yards after contact.
It's disgusting.
And there was like a couple plays I remember where it looked like he was just going to get tackled at the line of scrimmage, and somehow he just like slipped out for an extra couple of yards. Or they pinned us deep one drive, and we were on like the 3-yard line or something, and it looked like I think did he catch out of the backfield, or he did like a zone read? I can't remember, but he was like a yard or 2 behind the line of scrimmage. It looked like he was going to get tackled at the 1 and somehow slipped out to like the 4 or 5 yard line. And it was just like, it was crazy that he was able to get out of some of the stuff he missed. He wasn't super effective in the passing game. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead and finish.
I was going to say he wasn't super effective in the passing game, but he still had 3 receptions for 14 yards. So just a dominating performance from him. He was just so good.
Greg's got some matchups for the Lions gig. Greg, we're going to finish the recap. Once we get into the preview, we will have matchups as well. But Okudah versus Dobbs and Penei Sewell versus Rashawn Gary are two very good ones.
Yeah, Sewell versus Gary is very good.
That was
that is definitely a good one. Bunch of young guys that are making their names. Jake has our second star, who is Jair Alexander.
Jair Alexander, man. He might have been the most fun player to watch in this game. From starting at pregame, John with Diggs. He forced a penalty on Gabe Davis, got in Gabe Davis's head, and he kind of just let them talk. I thought it was funny when I don't know if you guys saw, but Diggs said that he ended it. He said, "I don't care what he said. I ended it. I got the win." And then Jair was like, "I don't know what he's talking about, man. I don't know what he's talking about." He just kept denying it. In his interviews, we talked about it a million times. They're the best. He had a great game, honestly, for everything that went around him. He only had 1 tackle, but 4 passes defense, interception, obviously, and 0 yards. He gave up 0 fucking yards. I mean,
is that good?
That's what I would consider a lockdown. I don't know. And I want to answer David's question a little bit here, a little bit differently. Yes, maybe he should have been on Diggs the whole game. But the first touchdown, like we all alluded to, Allen actually forced that touchdown with his legs. Everything about that first touchdown the Bills scored was because of his legs. And they have another pretty good receiver in Gabe Davis. So you kind of don't want either guy to go crazy and popping off. And
don't sleep on Isaiah McKenzie either. He's actually a good player. He's a nice player for them to be that wide receiver 3.
Yeah, he's
I've seen a stat somewhere that when targeting, hopefully I'm not stealing anyone's stat or whatever, but when targeting everyone else other than Diggs, Allen had like a 38-point-something passer rating. When he was targeting Diggs, it was like a perfect passer rating. So that's where I kind of agree with Jake, where I feel like, yeah, we don't want our backs turned, but I wish Jair would have been on Diggs the whole time, because I feel like he can beat us quicker with his arm than he can his legs. If we actually just spy him or something like that, I feel like that would have been something easier to fix.
Okay, but here, this is me playing the devil's advocate here. Do you trust a Douglas and Stokes in zone coverage more than you trust Josh Allen one-on-one with a linebacker and nobody else before you get to the first down marker?
No, I don't know. It's tough. But
situational.
So it's not easy
situational
to
football.
Which
I just
pick your poison you go with.
Yeah, I just feel like
because Josh Allen beat our linebackers to the edge several times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like I said, I feel like there's that huge gainer to Diggs too, the big touchdown. I feel like we would rather had him run that, which he did, but it would, wouldn't have been as quick and fast kill, right? So. But
that's fair.
You're right. There's no great way. Look, the Bills, I think we're all in agreement. The Bills are the best team in the NFL right now. I don't care that the Eagles are 7-0. The Bills are the best team in the NFL, in my opinion. So if you stop one thing, they're going to do something else. They're an amazing team.
Yeah, that's what makes them so good is you can't play one or the other the whole game. It's not going to work.
I agree.
David said playing man, you can spy Allen. My matchup that I was watching was using Quay Walker as a spy on Josh Allen.
Weird. Speaking of Quay, he was actually having a really good game before he got ejected. I don't know if someone was going to talk about that. Yeah, I don't know if someone was going to talk about that or not, but he was having a pretty good game before he got ejected.
I didn't really want to talk about it because it was so controversial.
Oh, man, we have to.
I'll break it down in my eyes.
Hold on. This goes back to what I was talking about like last week or the week before, is how undisciplined this team seems sometimes. And this is the type – it was versus the Commanders, where we had these dumbass penalties that cost us yards that are completely unnecessary. And it doesn't seem like he's going to get suspended. At least that's what I read. Is they're probably just going to fine him. But, like, man, you got to keep a level head. I don't know exactly what the exchange was, but it didn't seem like that was, like, a necessary, reaction to whatever that dude said.
Yeah, maybe he just didn't want to touch him. And everyone's saying that he pushed the coach. It wasn't a coach. It was a practice squad player, okay? That doesn't make it any better, but Yeah, exactly. He ain't even good to be standing on the side. Like, but he shouldn't have pushed him. But like Simon said, you don't know what was said while he was on the ground. You don't know what was going on. And the guy kind of grabbed his arm to pick him up, and maybe Quay thought he was, he was pulling on him or something he shouldn't have been doing. So, but he definitely should not have pushed him. But it is what it is.
All right. So I have the third star, which is the aforementioned Romeo Doubs. He had 4 receptions for 62 yards and a touchdown against a good defense. And I think the thing that stood out to me most about Doubs in this game was his hands. Everything he caught was with his hands. He kind of got turned around on his touchdown catch, but he made the catch. He adjusted, made the catch with his hands. You guys paid attention to the rookie wide receiver standings at all?
I know what you're about to throw out there.
I'm about to throw 3 things out there.
Okay.
I think I saw one of them.
Romeo Doubs is currently 5th in yards for rookie wide receivers. He's currently 3rd in receptions, trailing only Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson. And he's 2nd in touchdowns to only Jahan Dotson.
That's pretty good.
Pretty good for a 4th round pick.
I'll say that.
Pretty good for a 4th round pick. I'm really interested. Bryant has the underrated performer this week. I'm interested to see who he went with.
So I think you guys might disagree with me or say, well, he wasn't really underrated. I know some of you want Preston Smith, but he had 3 tackles. I just didn't feel like his impact was like huge. And you can argue that with me afterwards. I really thought about Josiah DeGuara because his blocking was insane this game. And I'm going to talk about that a little more when I talk about the tight ends. But my underrated performer for this game and really for the last few weeks is Aaron Rodgers, to be honest, because we don't talk enough about everyone craps on him, right? Look at what this dude has to sit in front of cameras. He's the only one that has a 20-minute interview every week in front of the press conference. Plus, he goes on the Pat McAfee and he that's his decision, but he goes on there and talks about stuff. And I've seen a bunch of people like poo-pooing the fact that he was smiling on the sidelines with Dylan and Jones. And we joked about it in our message that someone's going to say something. God forbid the dude is having fun. Like, to me, that actually like sense of calm, like, because I feel like they found something in this game. I thought he played his best game. And this for being against the Bills, we were really like 3 plays away from really being in that game and being close to taking it, right? You had the unfortunate tipped pass interception where Amari Rodgers was wide open. That's a good play by the D-line, just unfortunate. Mm-hmm. You had the I know someone's going to talk about the touchdown that was taken away from Tunyon.
Yep.
And then like one other play maybe that we make and it's game, like we're right there. Instead of having to kick that field goal, we're going for the win or tie in that situation if either of those 2 plays go a different way, right? Because when Aaron Rodgers threw that interception, if he completes that pass to Amari Rodgers instead, we're already in scoring range. But for this game, Aaron had 203 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the 1 interception. But what I really liked was, for one, he stuck with the run game even when we were down. Like, we all talk about how he checks out of that stuff. He stuck with that, even if he was like after the game,
it a couple of times actually.
Yeah, exactly. And even after the game, he was like, "Well, in this league, we're gonna have to be able to throw it downfield." And everyone was like, "See, he just wants to chuck it downfield still." No, I think he means that it needs to complement us. If we're running the ball that well, we need to be able to throw the ball down the field.
And because of our play action, run the ball a bunch of times and then pretend like you're going to run the ball and throw it.
Exactly. And he's talked about his thumb injury and how being under center hurts it. This was the most I've seen them under center all year. And then a couple other things too is like on the flea flicker. I don't know if it was he wanted to lead Romeo Doubs inside, and actually I'll say that for when I talk about the play. But I feel like he took more chances too. Like he got outside the pocket and he ran once. The pass to Toure, he really was patient, got outside, and I love the fact that Toure adjusted to him. That throw to Romeo Doubs, throwing it down the field, the one to Amari Rodgers. There was another one he just darted into Tunyon that got deflected in the air. It wasn't intercepted or anything, but I felt like he was just taking more chances, and I feel like he was playing a little more loose, to be honest. So I put him as the underrated performer just because of really like on and off the field stuff he's dealt with during this losing streak, and I feel like if he crumbles, the whole team, and we know that if he crumbles, the whole team crumbles, and I felt like he's doing as good of a job as he can to hold this team up and speak with a sense of urgency, but not like act like the world is falling, like all of us fans want to do. So I don't know.
I want to respond to Michael Larson first. He said, "Imagine being 3 and 5." Well, Michael, imagine your IQ being between 3 and 5. The fuck out of here with that bullshit.
So, one thing. Oh yeah. Oh, sorry.
I want to respond. I agree with you, and I've talked about Rodgers a couple of times, and when I'm not on camera, I say more controversial things. Thank you, David. I thought that was a pretty good one. I had that one cooking, waiting for Brian to finish. It's crazy that after every misplay, he's scrutinized. And you brought up how he's laughing on the bench. And the reason that I wanted us to make a move, and I know Brian's going to talk about this, is the 2-minute offense is just such a struggle with these young guys. And now you got a rookie that's coming off the practice squad who's got even less of an idea of shit that's going on. And you're trying to run a 2-minute offense, and you could see Rodgers like explaining it with all the hand signs, like you got to do this, and then you got to do this, and you have to do this route. And it's like he's got to like map out all these plays and get down the field in a fast amount of time. I think the potential for this offense is going up, week by week, as it should be.
Oh yeah.
But I still think that it's going to be a little bit rough. I think this week will be a little bit easier because the Lions fucking suck on defense. Let's just
You're an idiot, Michael. Right? Like, seriously, go ahead and go away.
Jake the racist is talking. Yeah, I'm racist. Yep. Not how NFC. Yeah, okay. I'm not going to respond to him anymore. I already burned you, so you can enjoy that. But I just wanted to say that I agree. Rodgers being underrated performer, definitely 100%.
So just one thing I wanted to cap off on what he talked about a little bit too is I think this is the most, or at least the best game of the year as far as Rodgers in the pocket and moving around and stuff. He like the way he moved around the pocket and manipulated it. This was probably the best game of the year that he's had doing that.
Sure.
And that throw to Toure, like seeing him move back and forth and Toure adjusting to where he was on the field. And that was probably my favorite play of the year, to be honest, because you see these young wide receivers, once the play breaks down, you see them starting to get a feel for where they can go to help Rodgers out. And that's what I loved. So I actually kind of agree with Brian on this one, but
he earned himself a bunch of playing time by doing that, man.
Yeah, man.
Rodgers
is going to talk about the wide receivers
today.
We're going to get into some of their specific plays, but we're going to talk about the wide receivers. And Robert's getting ahead of me a little bit with bringing up Amari Rodgers because I'm going to talk about him
that
too.
Real quick, I want to ask you guys this. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Sadly.
Real quick. Sorry, it like gave me an error. It was like, sorry, there's an error, but it's not your fault. And then it kicked me. I'm like, okay, great. What do we get? Who do you guys have not active this week, right? If Lazard plays. So do you not have Samori Toure active after that game? I don't feel like we can. There's no way Dubs and Christian Watson are inactive. I know who you're going to say, but my question is, but Amari played well, or he's showing something. I feel like it should be Sammy Watkins, but I don't think
they're not gonna fucking do
we have the balls to do it. Like, I don't think we will, right? And that's my problem. Is like I think Watkins. Yeah, I feel like we need to cut him, but or just whatever. But especially when Cobb comes back, I'm sorry, but Watkins was a non-factor again this game. He made one catch for that first third down. Yeah, on that first third down, that was it. And then there was nothing the rest of the rest of the game. Like, we're seeing these other, wide receivers make play and get open. Toure had that one that was a low throw that kind of went through his hands and hit the ground. A little bit better throw or better, hands catch by him. He makes that play and getting open, making that adjustment to Rodgers. And after what Rodgers said this week, like I told him he need to be on the field. Like, it's going to be interesting to see if now we're forced to have 6 wide receivers active this game, assuming Lazard and Christian Watson play, or if they actually don't have Amari and or Watkins active. Because I don't think there's any way they deactivate Toure for this game. I would be shocked.
No.
So I want to answer.
I don't think I'd actually be shocked.
It'll be interesting to see. Robert asked about Juwann Winfree. He's been activated. I think it was 3 times now, and if he's activated again, he has to be signed to the active roster.
Yep.
And when he's had his opportunities, he just hasn't really performed. He's been passed on the depth chart. by Romeo Dobbs, obviously. Christian Watson, obviously. He's been passed, in my opinion, by Amari Rogers. He's been passed by Samori Toure at this point, honestly.
Think about that.
So, I mean, Juwann Winfree is essentially the 8th best wide receiver on the roster. And if they bring him up again, he has to be signed to the active roster. So I think Juwann Winfree is pretty much done playing with the Packers unless there's a huge bunch of injuries.
Who did we cut to sign Patrick Taylor back to the practice squad? Because I, in my opinion, like if we sign another player to the practice squad, Juwann Winfree's the first to go. Like he's had so many opportunities to show something. He's a practice star.
He's had multiple years of it too.
Yeah, like just it's time to move on.
I agree.
No, because that was injured reserve. I was wondering if activating Kylan Hill was opening a spot or not.
I'm not sure.
They might have just had an open spot.
Well, what's the
with all the people going on, people going on IR and stuff like that. Well, they cut Patrick Taylor from the active roster to activate Kylan Hill, but
they released someone else though.
Oh, they released Colby Jones.
Yeah, and that was to activate Barnes.
Patrick Taylor, and then they re-added him.
Was it Ennis Gaines?
You're right. It was Pat. No, it was Pat. No, Ennis Gaines joined the practice squad. So we cut Colby Jones and
somebody else.
Patrick Taylor.
And Patrick Taylor.
Oh, Patrick Taylor was the one they cut?
Yeah, and then they re-added him to the practice squad.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's get into the offense. I'm going to go to Jake first to talk about the Romeo Dobbs touchdown and the Robert Tonyan negated touchdown.
Ooh, back to back, baby. Let's go. All right. Yep. So let's start with this Dobbs touchdown. The way I want to break these down is because everybody was, Packers fans have been really critical of play calling, offensively, defensively. We've been really critical of the play calling and our coaching staff. So I wanted to break them down a little bit. So when you first look at the formation, if you're pausing the game and you're looking at it in a standstill, you have Watkins on the top of the formation over to the left side of Aaron Rodgers, right? Dobbs is up there as well. Tight to the line on the right side, you have Tonyan close to the line next to Nyman, and you have A.J. Dillon in the backfield on the right side. That right there tells me that Rodgers knows that the protection on the right side is weaker. So he's giving himself a little bit more time on the right side in case a blitz comes that way. On the bottom of the screen is Josiah DeGuara. That might be the most surprising part of that play is he is split out wide by himself in tight man coverage. To start this play, Rodgers sends Dobbs in motion from the left to the right or the top of the bottom as you're watching on TV. And the routes on this play, Watkins is on the top. He runs an in route. One of my notes here, I have Tonyan takes a deep post. So he takes the safety on a deep post. DeGuara runs a drag from the bottom of the screen. So now if you're watching this, you have two receivers going like this. You have a tight end taking that safety off, right? And then underneath all of that, you have Dobbs coming in motion, and he runs a flag route. So he's getting a one-on-one. Now, everybody watches the play, and they're like, oh, my God, was that a terrible throw by Rodgers? No, Rodgers threw that in the exact right spot because he has the corner trailing him on that play. So he's throwing it to the open spot. In my opinion, that's just Dobbs having to learn on the fly. Dobbs is like, okay, if this guy's here, Rodgers is throwing it here. But to his credit, amazing body control, awesome catch. The whole play was phenomenal, I thought. I thought the route combination, I thought the throw, the catch, all of it combined was amazing. The blocking was good on that play. But to me, that was a great touchdown. It wasn't my favorite play, but that Samori Toure, now that you thought about it, you made me start thinking about that, Simon. That might be my favorite play too. I don't know. Well, the Aaron Jones touchdown was awesome.
I know. It's
close.
It's close, man.
So now I want to talk about the Tonyan touchdown.
Should have been.
First, I want to start off by saying that call was fucking bullshit. Like, I'm just going to be straight up about it, man. That was bullshit. How the hell is a guy, and I understand it's within 5 yards, they're literally both assaulting each other, okay? They both have their hands by their heads, and Tonyan's just stronger than the guy that was trying to jam him. That's all that was, in my eyes, is he was able to get off of it. Now, when I break down the play, they had all the players to the left of the quarterback, right? They have Tanyan close to the line, much like the Dubs touchdown, and they just gave him that whole right side of that field by himself. So that play call, again, just like the Dubs touchdown, was a great play. Now, like I said, we've been really, really critical of the play calling, with our coaches and stuff. But these two plays right here show me that he's learning on the fly. And I really wanted to talk about this because of how bullshit that is and how much that changed the game. Think of the momentum that Green Bay gets with that touchdown.
What kills me with that one is a week prior to the game I'm at, the offensive player runs into our defensive player, and we get the penalty on a defensive contact. But now when we do it and the guy is clearly holding it and it's not offsetting penalties, they throw it on the offensive side of the ball. There's just no consistency. Like, it was clearly the guy was holding him, and then he breaks away from it, and the guy falls. Oh, flag.
See,
was that the one where it came in super, super late, or that might have been a different one?
No, that was a different one. But I know what you're talking about. And that's why I said it was just a case of Tanyan being stronger than the other guy. Because again, they're both fighting with each other. I'm not disagreeing that Tanyan was, absolutely did a rip move. But for him to have to do a move like that should show.
It was essentially shedding a block with how close they were to the line of scrimmage.
Exactly. Should show the ref that, like, hey, he has me on the outside of the shoulder is what it looked like to me, up by the head area right here. And he had to fully, like, take his arm and get him off him. So, to me, that's just a no call. You just allow the players to play. Man, me and Tyler cry about this all the fucking time. I don't want to say cry, but it's just like, let them decide the fucking game. They're the ones that people complain about getting paid too much money. And then you and your stupid ass striped shirt's going to come in and ruin it. I mean, they took away excitement from a fucking great game that was going to become. People are going to be talking about Aaron Rodgers still has it. Josh Allen on the brinks, feeling the pressure. Like, I don't know. I just think that whole flag, and again, we don't want to complain about flags, but that call changed the whole game.
That's 2 weeks in a row that where we lose a touchdown on a ticky-tacky call.
Yeah.
All right. So Bryant is going to talk about the Samori Toure touchdown and the lone flea flicker.
Okay. I did want to make one comment, Jake. My favorite part of the Dubs touchdown is that was very similar to the one where he's kind of falling to the ground in the end zone, and this time he made sure he turned and he held onto that ball versus against the Patriots. Thing is, if you guys watched that game last night, I don't know how that is a touchdown, but Dubs isn't, but whatever. Anyway,
I don't know.
I guess he should have went on a bounce instead. Anyways, so for the Toure touchdown, this is our second. The Dubs touchdown was 20-plus yards, right? So this one, the Toure one, was actually 37 yards, which is our longest touchdown on the year. I'm sad to say going into week 9, but it's great to see because we're starting to make things. But my favorite part was, I remember last week, I noticed when he got on the field, like, you could see his speed. And for him to get out there, and my favorite part is, I know Chris Collinsworth compared him. He's like, that's something Devontae would do. He's like,
he did. He's like, that's what Devontae would do.
This dude isn't Devontae, but this tells you. And a lot came out this week about Aaron Rodgers talking about. Did you guys hear his nickname for Toure in camp?
No.
He called him Captain. He called him Captain Casual. He said because he wanted to give him that nickname because he was very casual when it came to practicing. And he said gave it as a nickname to try to, like, kind of get him going. He said he's seen his practice habits completely change. And this tells me that we always hear Aaron Rodgers harp about this, like, hey, not everything's going to happen in rhythm and you need to adjust. This shows, like, Aaron Rodgers breaks on the play and he talks about when he moved to his left, I believe. That's when Toure broke off his route and came back. And then, the rest is fate, right? He's seen them. He worked with his quarterback through that touchdown. Like, we haven't seen, like, I'm not comparing Devontae, but the last time I've really seen that happen is with Randall Cobb and Devontae Adams, are players that he would do that with all the time, that they would just kind of move in sync almost together. You know what I mean? So he needs to be on the field more. So I get it. He's a rookie. He might come.
That touchdown that he had up the sideline against the Commanders, that was one of those, like, he did the motion to go. So I would throw Aaron Jones in there too. But yes,
yeah.
I agree with
you. But for out of the wide receivers, like, to see a rookie do it, it's awesome because that's the type of things that Aaron wants Christian Watson and Dobbs to be doing as well. Yeah, Dobbs. So I don't know how they're gonna do it, but I feel like Toure and he might very well have one catch for 8 yards this next game. But I feel like he just needs to be on the field more. Now for the flea flicker, I called this one. This is one of my bold predictions that the Packers do.
Does that mean I take a pie? I think that means I take a pie because
No, not yet.
I definitely said no.
Yeah, he said no. He did say no. I'll deliver your cream pie next time I see you. Anyways,
God.
Anyways, what are you guys talking about? Banana cream pie. That's his favorite.
I do like banana
I'm
cream
sure
pie.
it is his favorite.
I bet it is.
Oh, man. No. Never mind. Just keep going.
No, we're getting canceled.
But
oh, my
anyways,
God.
so on the flea flicker, you could see Aaron Rodgers a little upset because I really feel like he wanted – both defenders were like stacked on top of Doubs. If he breaks that inside and gives Aaron Rodgers a chance to throw it more to the middle of the field, they complete that. It actually still hit Doubs in the hand. Now, my question is now, that was the second series that happened on. I wonder if that play was written up for Christian Watson and they still ran it, even though Christian Watson left the game. So we'll see.
We're going to get to Watson because
what
Simon's going to talk about him, but continue.
Yeah, but that's just my question is I wonder if that, I love to see that I love the fact that they tried it. Okay. I absolutely love the fact that they tried it because I feel like we needed it. I want to see more stuff like that. And I'm hoping we'll see another one later on in the year to Christian Watson to see what happens, to see if head speed can get going. Maybe later in the game after we've been just absolutely crushing it and running it down their throats too, instead of the second drive. But it was just nice to see. But that was it. Like I like as soon as they did it, I was like, oh, I said it. I called that. I was hoping to God like it got completed, but it was a great throw. It literally hit Dobbs in the hand, but he was a tight coverage, so that would have been a really tough catch. But
it still would have been sick though.
Yeah.
David's laughing at us. Robert, I want to address your comment because we are all for the positive vibes. Robert said positive vibes, Christian Watson, best game and first receiving touchdown coming Sunday. We would love for that to happen. We're going to talk a little bit more about Watson in a second here.
Stick around
for
bold predictions, Robert.
Neither of them are touchdowns, but they're both important to me for different reasons. One is the Aaron Jones big run out of halftime. So a penalty on each team started this drive for 1st and 5 from the 13-yard line. Aaron Jones busts out for a 32-yard gain. Now, this was a draw play, and what started this play was A.J. Dillon actually running out into the flat. They're doing a lot of that this year with when they do the dual running backs, is one of them goes and runs out to the flat. That motion on its own froze the linebackers, which allowed the draw play to work for a big gain because they weren't allowed to flow in the same direction that the offensive line was going, and that opened up a huge hole for Aaron Jones to burst through. So I wanted to bring that up, and then John Runyon and Zach Tom were the ones that opened the hole, and then Josh Nijman got into the second level, which was just great execution of the play. Josh Nijman had a guy blocked up to the sticks, so he's up 5 yards upfield, and Aaron Jones is at the first down marker before anybody's even thinking about touching him. Samuel Parker said the Vikings are not that good and worry no one. Y'all can agree to that. I mean, we've been pretty adamant they have a pretty cupcake schedule, but I mean, they can only play who's on their schedule. We've said this with the Packers.
6-1 is 6-1, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and diminish. I mean, they're still winning, right?
They're good, but I wouldn't pick them to be in the Super Bowl or anything.
It just kind of goes back to what I said about the NFC
legacy.
I agree, Brian.
I mean, we'll see how the rest of the year goes. We're only halfway through the season, and actually not even quite halfway. Once we get halfway through the Detroit game, that's only the halfway mark of the season, which is crazy that I saw that the Super Bowl is 100 days away. That's still over 3 months away.
I was thinking about this earlier, just real quick, just to go off on a question for you guys. I feel like the trade deadline is too early in the season. I feel like it should be pushed back a couple weeks because everyone's still kind of clumped together. Yeah,
especially with the 17th game now. I think like week 10.
Yeah,
I'd agree to that.
I feel like that's kind of the point, though, right? Is like you want to make sure they do it before teams that are, I mean, obviously teams have.
Well, you want teams to be emerging because, like the Seahawks, for example, like does anybody think that what they're doing is sustainable? So I mean,
I never thought Geno would do what he's doing, though. So I'll just say that.
Like sustainable for the season, or like. What do you mean?
For the whole season, because if you give 2 more weeks, that gives teams 2 more weeks to figure out if they're going to try to contend or to not contend. The Giants would be another example.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's the same as setting your trade deadline in like fantasy or whatever, right? Is like you want to have people make those decisions before they know their teams are either in or out.
That's fair.
I'm just gonna say this. I don't like comparing fantasy football to the actual.
I don't either. I was using it as an example, not
just
not,
because like Dynasty you
league,
could a little bit more, but like a regular fantasy football league it doesn't really apply because you're not stockpiling picks for next year if you're gonna tank or try to make the playoffs. So I would say like maybe week 10, because that's still 7 weeks left in the season. So, but that's still 10 weeks into the season, and then you can decide if you're going to try to contend or not. David, I will actually put a pin in that. I think that's a good question to ask next week. So I will write that down, and we will answer that question next week. What we think the record is going to be for the rest of the season. The other play that I wanted to talk about was Amari Rodgers' catch on the last drive. Amari made that catch on the sideline. Great job using his hands to catch the ball. It was a great ball placement by Aaron Rodgers, too. It was like a field goal on the cornerback's arms, which was Kaiir Elam, actually, who's a rookie who's been playing very well. He's got 3 passes defensed and 2 interceptions. So he's actually having a very good start to his season for a rookie. Amari Rodgers ran right by him, right up the sideline. Rodgers hit him right in the hands. Amari Rodgers stayed focused and reeled it in, even with a guy in his face. So I wanted to bring that up because I'm going to talk about the wide receiver room and playing time when we get into the preview. So the last play that we're going to focus on offense is Christian Watson's catch, and Simon wanted to talk about that.
Well, I kind of had 2 things, and I kind of picked this for a reason. So even though it's not necessarily like a play, David Bakhtiari looked phenomenal this game again.
Zero
pressures allowed, and he had an 82 point per PFF, 82.5 pass block grade, and an 87.8 run block grade. I know this season's a little weird. There are probably going to be some games where they don't like Bakhtiari's knee and they might sit him for the game. But when he plays, he's well worth the money that we gave him. And I know it's tough because it just, like we said before, like it sucks the way that his injury went down. Signed a huge contract and pretty much immediately tears his ACL. But like, yeah, same. Like I love the matchup. I like Hutch coming out of the draft. He could develop into a just disgustingly good player.
His motor's sick.
Yeah, his motor is just gross. He could be a great player, but like this is just, and this kind of goes into my Watson catch. One catch for 12 yards, kind of just took a slant over the middle and immediately gets concussed. But the thing that got me the most is like I saw some disgusting comments from Packer fans, and it sucks seeing stuff like that, And I always like Aaron Nagler's like carry the G thing. Like as a fan, like why can't we just be respectful towards these players? Like that's not like he's an injury prone player. Like this is football. Stuff happens. He took a shot to the head, and I mean there's nothing you can do about it. Stuff happens. Like why are we crapping on this player? And his injury history isn't even bad either.
Comments, stuff like that. It's terrible. I agree with you. I'm really glad you brought that up actually because it was bad.
Yeah,
and we made a post on the Let's Go Fanatics page, and people like he's made a glass.
Did you see the tweet from him? I think I shared
like his mom.
Yeah, like
it's a tweet from his mom. Like, it's just sad to see that. And I tweeted I
think he went out.
Okay. The fact that there's fans that are like basically acting like they don't want a guy who's on their team to succeed. Like I can't wrap my head around that. And like I said, Simon, I'm really glad you brought that up because we, Jake and I have said tons of times talking about other teams that, the athletes are people.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what I saw too was people saying that Aaron Rodgers threw his head back because he's like, oh, great, he's injured again. It's like, no. Aaron Rodgers threw his head back because he wants Christian Watson to be on the field, not only for what he brings to the team, but also for Christian Watson.
Yeah.
Rodgers wants Watson to be able to get his career going as a player, as a person, not even just as what he brings to the team as a deep threat or an end-around threat or whatever. Like, Rodgers wants Christian Watson, the person, to have his opportunity.
Mm-hmm. I think for me, I'm not going to talk a lot about this because it really pissed me off. But the thing that kind of made it real for me was when I did see his mom's comments. And she talked about how, it's terrible to see. And as a parent, I tell you what, I'd have a hard time holding back from some of these people that talked about my kid like that, man. I mean, this kid has worked his ass off. I mean, to be very blunt about it, he worked his ass off to get where he is. It is a blessing to be in the NFL. It is a blessing to get picked at 34th overall by the Green Bay fucking Packers. The Green Bay Packers, one of the blue blood teams of this league. And to play with Aaron Rodgers. And Greg, I don't give a shit what you say. He's one of the top 10 quarterbacks. He's top 5 in my mind. But one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. And we're supposedly one of the greatest fan bases and one of the greatest stadiums. And in a moment like this is how you guys respond. I'm disappointed. I'm also really mad. I'm really fucking pissed. But
you
I'm
need to be better.
I'm disappointed,
As a fan base, we need to be better.
Be better. And this doesn't just stop at the Packers, okay? Tyler and I's mission goes for all of our teams. And it doesn't just happen in sports. In regular life, you can be a better person. That's where I'm going to end that.
Brian, did you want to add on before I kind of finished off?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just having really bad internet issues. But to see his mom say, I'm glad my son's okay and his neck's not broken. Like, can you imagine? Like, she doesn't care about what, she cares about the team, but her only thing she cares about is her son. And then for her immediately to see negative comments are at Aaron Rodgers. For one, they went to Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur, and you see them both like kind of drop their heads. It's not because they're mad that he's hurt. It's mad, for one, they obviously had a lot written up for him, and they talked about it all week. Like, that changed their offense. Aaron Rodgers has talked about what this kid can bring to the offense. He wants him on the field, and everyone's like, oh, he pulled a hamstring. I've seen people that say that he has his hamstring injury, so now he'll have that his entire career, and it'll only get worse, acting like there's never been anyone with a hamstring injury that's healed. I've seen another person say, well, they can just pick up. Well, he shouldn't have lowered his head on that play, and he wouldn't have got concussed. Guess what? There's people that get a helmet under the chin and they get concussed. Like, it's a bang play. Like, I can't recall if he got tripped up and that's why his head went down. Either way, like,
he was kind of going down.
Bro, it's natural instinct to protect yourself. It's natural instinct to protect yourself. Like,
like, I'm really encouraged. I think he's going to play this week because otherwise I don't think they would ever had him out there in full pads.
The fact that he practiced limited yesterday already was encouraging enough.
And they said he was in really high spirits, like, after the game right away. And it was kind of scary because I think on the replay you could see like where his head was bent, like, and you could see his eyes rolled, like he was knocked, like he was out. It could have been a bad angle, but just for fans to immediately go out and say a bunch of stupid things and comments, like, you're a sad individual. The first thing you do is want to complain about him getting hurt instead of, oh my gosh, I hope he's okay.
Yeah.
So and if he goes off this weekend, don't cheer for him because you're a piece of crap and you don't deserve to cheer for him. If you were one of the ones tweeting about, oh, he's a piece of glass and we should cut him, don't celebrate if he gets a touchdown this weekend. Okay.
We need to be better as a fan base. We need to be better. That's the bottom line.
So just to kind of wrap this up, and I kind of lost track of where I was going to go with this now, but just as like a challenge to yourself, and I don't care if you're watching as a Packer fan or if you're another fan, Lions, whatever, like, we can all kind of just be better fans and realizing that these players have personal lives too, right? And
Jake and I say that all the time. Yeah. We said it when the Bucs and the Celtics were playing in the Eastern Conference second round last year. Marcus Smart got hurt and his arm is dangling, and it's we're playing basketball. A guy on the rival team gets hurt. We don't want to see people hurt. Mm-hmm. These athletes are people. I don't care how much you hate the Bears. I don't want Justin Fields to get a concussion.
Yeah,
I don't want Kirk Cousins to break his arm or
Yeah.
like
Like if
DeAndre
you're like the
Swift to
if
break
you're
his
like the-
collarbone. Like, I
yeah.
don't want those things to happen. I want them to have their worst games possible, and I hope they fumble every time they touch the ball and throw 10 million interceptions
Right,
and score
right.
59 touchdowns every game. But I don't want anybody to get hurt. That's
Yeah.
the bottom line. I don't care how much you hate anybody else's team. I don't care. I hate the fucking Dodgers, but I don't hope that anybody on that team gets hurt.
Yeah.
If you
Just
cheer
like-
for an injury, you will instantly be blocked from our show. I will guarantee you that. Jake and I have
And
a
like-
zero tolerance, and I guarantee you that Simon and Brian agree with this, that there is a zero tolerance for cheering for players to get injured or for bragging if your team injures somebody else's player.
Like 2017 when you had the Anthony Barr painting of breaking Aaron Rodgers' collarbone. Like if you know your team is sad that you have to sell, and I have a couple of close friends that were celebrating, well, at least one that's celebrating him getting injured. And like, bro, like just beat us, okay? I don't care. Like I think Justin Fields is trash, but I hope he stays healthy and he earns his money his whole career. I don't want to see him get hurt. I don't want to see anyone get hurt. That's like that changes their life, right? That like that head injury. I haven't got a chance to listen to it yet, and I don't know if any of you have listened
Sam
to it.
Shields.
But Sam Shields podcast, I need to watch it, but I've heard it's brutally honest and like it's people have said don't watch it because it's literally hard to watch. And if you don't remember Sam Shields, he was a great cornerback for us, undrafted free agent, I think.
Yeah, out of Miami, converted from wide receiver.
Yeah, and won a Super Bowl with us, if I'm not mistaken. And his
I know some things sometimes.
His career essentially ended because of bad concussion. So, like, for you guys to go and talk about crap about him for getting a concussion, just think, like, all it takes is one TBI, traumatic brain injury, to really change a person's life. You don't know how that's going to affect
Nick
him.
Collins, man.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know how that's going to affect him. Dom Majkowski. All of them are suffering right now.
Reggie White.
Aaron
Hernandez.
Exactly. For you to, like, be upset that he got a concussion, like, come on now. Okay.
So to turn this kind of back to football and what I was thinking about before too is for all the people saying cut him, this team is still trying to find ways to get him the ball. They see potential in his play. I don't care if it's an end around or a jet sweep or whatever, and people make fun of that somehow. I don't give a shit. I don't care if he carries the ball 40 times for 286 yards. If that's what he's doing, sign me up.
Yeah, boy.
So, like, this team is still trying to find the way to give
put
the ball.
Cut him 8 games in.
Yeah, and it's just so aggravating. And I understand everyone's frustrated. This is a kind of disappointing season for everyone's expectations and stuff. But don't let that get away from you, the fact that these guys are still young. There's still time for them to develop, and there's still time to put together a good season for some of these guys. Yeah. I'm not ready to give up on Christian Watson, and I don't think anyone else should be either. We're still on a very low sample size. We're still in a very young man's career. Why not, give him more chances? If we're in year 3 and there's still maybe some production, then sure, we can start talking about how, he was a bust or whatever, but there's not enough sample size for us to sit here and be like, cut him. And then someone else is going to take his place. It just doesn't compute for me.
He brings something to the table that you cannot.
Yeah, 2 or 3. I like to say 3 for most guys. What is it? McKenzie's in his 5th year before he even broke out, quote unquote, broke out.
Yeah, David and Bernard, your two comments kind of go together. David said, "I've said it a bunch. I can tell those who haven't watched before Favre," and then Bernard says, "Packer fans want Rodgers gone." Not the smart ones. I'll tell you that.
It's
we'll have plenty
frustrating.
of time to see Jordan Love, whether it be next year or the year after. We'll have plenty of time to see Jordan Love. We don't need to rush Aaron Rodgers out of the door just because of a slow start to a season.
Yeah,
like we said, we're not even halfway done with the season yet. Mm-hmm. So, like I said,
that's just so
I'm willing to see what else this season can become, and it's not over till it's over. And let me tell you, we've talked about this. Jake and I have talked about this with baseball. Everything that can happen will eventually happen. Why not now?
Yeah.
Who's to say the Packers don't rip off 8 wins in a row? I'm not projecting it, but who's to say they don't?
Yep.
It could happen.
Shit, they could win
Eagles
8
have
games.
won 8 games in a row. Why can't the Packers?
It'd be 8 wins.
I get it. It might not be a likely thing. It might be a 1% chance. That's one time out of 100 that it'll happen.
I bet
Why
all
not?
these motherfuckers that are saying this shit bought Powerball tickets. I'll tell you that right now.
So
I did.
So that kind of goes back to kind of our chat comments too. Is like, let's say the Packers do rip off 8 wins. Would you be proud of some of the things that you said
That's what I'm
in your comments and stuff?
Yep.
Yeah, you said that last week, and it really got me thinking. Like, I bet half these people would sit there and like brag about this stuff, like they weren't just sitting there like saying fire everyone, cut everyone, and stuff. Like, why not have a little bit of optimism?
I said that to you guys in our group chat. I'm like, those are the same fans that will be in a couple of weeks be like, I knew they could do it. I said it all along.
Yep.
Never doubted them for a second.
And then they're going back to September, deleting posts.
Right.
So that's kind of just like that's just kind of
don't forget, motherfucker.
my challenge to the fans is I think we can all be a little bit better fans, and that includes me. I'm pretty sure I've said something that probably doesn't make sense logically. It'd be like that when you're in your emotions and stuff. But
yeah, but the bottom line is we'll find ways they can improve, and we'll keep looking for positive takeaways, even if things aren't going well. So we're going to switch to the defense. I wanted to talk about the 3rd and 14 conversion that the Bills had. The Packers had a really long streak in the beginning of the season of not allowing conversions on 3rd and 8 or longer, and it was a really long streak. So like that's one of those things that's going to regress to the mean eventually. Yeah. That said, the streak was broken, and it's you gotta get stops on 3rd and long. It's a little unrealistic to be 100%, but you got to get those stops. So Preston Smith, he lost his footing a little bit and lost the contain on the edge. Josh Allen obviously exploited that, and then Darnell Savage made the whiff tackle, just basically leading with his shoulder. He's 3.5 yards away from the first down. I know this is something that Bryant wants to talk about is the tackling, but and the safeties specifically. But he took a terrible angle, which is the first thing. So when we talk about how to improve tackling, angles is a big part of it. And then the way he planted himself was that he expected Josh Allen to continue going to the sideline. Josh Allen is not a quarterback that is afraid of contact. He will cut back inside and go forwards looking for contact. He will not shy away from it. Jake talked about it last week. He is 6'4", 230, a truck of a dude who is not afraid of contact. He's not Jalen Hurts. He's not a guy who's going to try to elude you and then slide down. He will continue running into your linebackers. So for Savage to take a bad angle, to basically kind of assume that Josh Allen was going to continue going towards the sideline, converted that play, and then they got the touchdown to Dawson Knox in the next play. And then the other play that I want to talk about is actually kind of 2 plays, but is the 2 big pass plays before halftime. One of them being the long one to Diggs. Pretty much just ran past Rasul Douglas, and Rasul Douglas just tried to play defense with his hands in the air. This one I don't want to give down on Darnell Savage, but I wanted to bring this up because it ties into my key to victory last week, which was attacking the ball. And that ball gets deep. Josh Allen hucked it up in the air. It was in the air for a while. And you see the camera pan over, and you see Darnell Savage staring at Stephon Diggs. My key to victory was attack the ball. Darnell Savage was the guy who we were hoping in the preseason would be the ball hawking safety. And Amos would be kind of the cleanup safety. And that Darnell Savage could be the guy who goes and gets those balls that are up in the air. And Savage is staring at Stephon Diggs and not at the ball. That's what was key about that play. That's where I believed that Darnell Savage had the opportunity to realize his potential. And he dropped the ball in the opportunity. It sucks, but that's the reality of it. Because Darnell Savage is not responding well to his opportunities. And it sucks to see because I had hoped that this would be one of the best secondaries in the NFL, and it just hasn't been. I think they're getting some of the scheme stuff figured out the last 2 or 3 weeks. With the comments of the players wanting to do more press coverage and stuff like that, and they've done that. But it's gotta be cohesive and it's gotta be collective. That said, they get the last play right before halftime. Buffalo had about one more play to run, and then they were going to be able to kick the field. They threw into the end zone. Jair Alexander.
Are you okay, Simon?
Sorry, Tyler.
I'm struggling over here. I should have muted.
The guy turned off his camera in his one arm and he fell off to someone big. We're all laughing at him.
Struggling over here. My bad.
Last play of the drive, Jair Alexander positioned himself perfectly. He got under the route to use the corner of the end zone, the back line, and the sideline as Simon getting hydraulics. The back line and the sideline as extra defenders undercut the route and got his hands on the ball to knock the ball away to hold Buffalo to 3 points right before halftime. So I'm going to go to Bryant, who wanted to talk about the first defensive series and the Isaiah McKenzie touchdown.
Yeah, so for the first defensive series, this is I was so excited after that first series. I was like, okay, we're showing that swag. We can play with these dudes. First, one thing wasn't great about the series, and this is kind of a theme for the Green Bay, is first down runs. I feel like, and we can talk about this more later, but we need to see TJ Slayton and Kenny Clark more on first down, and like we're letting up too many 5-6 yard runs on first down. But and then that puts everyone second and short, and it's a lot easier for the offense or whatever. But so they got in that position, and then Ja made that great pass breakup on Gabe Davis, where he caught the ball and then Ja knocked it out of his hand. And on the very next play, so that was his first pass defense of the series. The second one was a deeper throw. If he high points that ball, our times to jump better, he intercepts it 100%. But Ja's never been a great interceptor of the ball, although he has 2 years on this year now. But it was just he came out with that swag, he walked the walk and talked the talk, you know what I mean? And it's just, I was really hoping that hyped the defense up more. And then I think we went on, they scored 6 straight series in a row or 5 straight series in a row, unfortunately. So great start to the game. I feel like that's where you really want to see our offense come and answer after that and put up some points or something like that and really kind of get us into the game just to support.
I mean, they got stopped on 4th and 3 by a good defense. So, I'm not mad at it.
And, yeah. So, and I agree there. We had a better drive going. It's unfortunate we didn't put the points on, but at least we didn't go 3-0. Say that, but that was good, and that helped us get into the field position battle a little bit. And then for the Isaiah McKenzie touchdown, that's just for one, that's the Watson play, right? They ran that. Well, I can't say it's a Watson play, but that's what Watson scored on earlier in the year. They ran that against us, and it's really hard to watch. If you watch the play, both our linebackers completely go in the wrong direction, and then Amos doesn't attack him. He steps back and just kind of waits for him to make his move. And then you see Savage, who we're talking about. This dude is not playing with his full effort. He almost jogs into the play, and then he can't get to the sideline. One of them two need to be pressuring on that play to force.
They need to close faster,
break their tackle or something. Instead, they're just standing back watching the play, and then he just makes one move up the sideline and he scores a touchdown.
They're letting the play come to them instead of
flat-footed. Neither of them are being. Sorry, my internet probably cut me out there. But they both were just flat-footed, and neither of them were aggressive and going to try to make a play on him. They just let him dictate what he wanted to do. And it's just kind of killing me a little bit with we need Savage. You kind of hit the nail on the head. He's not playing up to his potential. And I remember specifically us saying, hey, if Savage is your worst person in your secondary, we were doing pretty good. And we thought he would, flash that speed and make the plays. It's almost like he's jogging a lot of the time. I'm just wondering, what's it going to take this dude to play with effort? And I just want him to play with more effort. And instead of these, we were a really good tackling team under Barry last year. So I don't understand what happened. Maybe we just stopped practicing it because we did it well last year. But there was another play that I decided to change out. But I believe it was James Cook or Singletary. He literally just dives at him and no, Zach Moss didn't have any carries in the game. So,
it was on a carry.
Yeah, he just chicken winged and he dove at him and completely whiffed. So on this year, Savage has 7 missed tackles already, and I think he probably has more, to be honest, because he's not taking good angles. He's not wrapping up, like wrap the person up. And then I know that's what he's credited with. And then Amos has 5. We're not getting good safety play right now, and it really hurts our defense.
So I want to answer some of the comments here. Robert said the Niners were 3-5 last year and went all the way to the NFC Championship game. He said he's not predicting it, but not calling an end to the season just yet. That's a perfect example of a 3-5 team going all the way to the NFC Championship game. All you need is a ticket. That's all you need. A ticket to ride.
Especially in the
you know how badly I want us to make the playoffs and knock the Vikings out? Oh,
That'd be awesome.
Just give me that,
Isaac
please.
said Enigbari needs more snaps. Enigbari was actually the player that I brought up last year. Last year. I knew we were getting him last year already. Last week as a player that deserves more playing time was Kingsley Enigbari was my pick.
Go get a Powerball ticket.
And then he said he'd rather have Ford and Savage's spot at this point. I think that's being explored, honestly. The way that Joe Barry's talking about Darnell Savage and how they might like to use him in different positions. I think we're going to see a little more Rudy Ford at safety this week. Yeah, Robert, trust me, we'd love it too. For the defense, Jake is going to talk about the Jair Alexander interception and the Stephon Diggs touchdown.
Okay, so first, I'll go with the bad because I like to go with the bad. Bad news first, and then I'll do the good news second.
And then
So the Diggs touchdown. The Bills stacked wide receivers in the bottom of the screen to the left of Josh Allen. And then they stacked the tight end in front of the running back on the right side of Josh Allen in the backfield. So automatically you're creating all these mismatches just from the formation. To the top of the screen, you have Stephon Diggs all alone. So right there, Josh Allen is walking up to the line. He's an elite quarterback, so yes, he's seeing this. He walks up to the line. He knows, yeah, I got man coverage over there. And yeah, that's Rasul Douglas, who's been struggling from time to time this year. So he knows, and I know people are going to put it on Savage. Amos was actually the closest safety if you watch that play. But people are talking about Savage needed to get over the top of that play. Amos was actually the closest. This play, I'm just going to tip my cap. Stephon Diggs runs good routes.
His routes
Okay,
are nasty.
he ran a double move.
3 route runner in the NFL. He's top 3.
He went out and then he went up and he got Rasul. That's all that was. Really, my point with picking my plays this week was to be like, sometimes players just make plays. Okay. On the Dubs touchdown, Dubs made a play. Perfect throw by Rodgers. The Tanyan, that was the refs being a bunch of assholes. Just going to call it like it is. The Diggs touchdown, Stephon Diggs made a play. He ran a perfect route. Josh Allen threw a very good pass. There was no safety help over the top. I don't know what the issue was with the safeties. But again, Amos was the closest one. And he just got beat. It is what it is, man. He's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. He's clearly top 3? Would you say he's clearly top 3?
I'd say he's clearly top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On my list, he's clearly top 3. So I'll say top 5. With the Jair interception, I wanted to talk about how after that first drive, especially in the second half, because this interception happened in the second half, I think the defense did a really good job adjusting and keeping Allen in the pocket. I think they contained him very well, made him throw off schedule, which is something that I wanted for the entire game. But, they did adjust on defense, and they forced him to throw 2 uncharacteristic plays that you haven't seen from Josh Allen in a few years. A great play by Jair Alexander. The other reason I want to talk about this is, after all the talking, and they're saying a bunch of stuff that we're not allowed to say, to our kids, he goes and gives the football to a kid and makes his day, man. That honestly was like, that's my boy, man. And he was fighting off his teammates, no, I'm good. I'll celebrate you over there. Goes and gives the ball to the kid. And I'm just like, that's my guy. That's why I love that guy, man. He could jaw. He could talk with the best of them. He goes and makes plays, gives the football to a kid. The fuck you not like that guy, man?
I love that stuff.
Seriously, how do you not like that guy?
We posted a video of Justin Fields, actually, because this kid walks up to a Bears thing. It's like a preseason thing, and walks up to a table where guys are signing autographs, and he's got his Justin Fields jersey on, and he's got his helmet and his pads and everything. And he's like, "You're my favorite player," and Justin Fields signs a bunch of stuff for him, takes pictures with him and stuff. It's we are Packers fans, but respect the hell out of Justin Fields for making children happy, because there's not many things better on the planet than making children happy. So that's
Baby Laughs is up there. Baby Laughs
is up there.
Is up on the list.
Simon.
Screw you, Simon. Baby Laughs make me feel so good.
Yes, Baby Laughs are awesome.
And that's like it's like Cam Newton too. Every time he'd rush for a touchdown, he'd go hand the ball to a kid.
That was probably
that was my favorite part of his game.
Yeah, man, I agree with that.
Isaac, I'm glad I'm not the only one that sees Willy Wonka when Jair wears those sunglasses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, there's no weather report this week because they play in a fucking dome.
Same with Hopkins. Every touchdown he used to get, he would give to his mom.
Yeah. Oh, I love that too. Isn't his
That's
mom
a crazy
blind or
story.
something?
His mom is
Well,
blind, yeah.
Yeah.
Did she pass away now? I thought. Or am I wrong?
I don't know.
I don't
Either
know how
way,
much
like that's like the humanity part of the game that we love seeing.
Yeah.
I love that stuff.
Simon, did you want to add anything to the defense?
Yeah, I didn't really pick a negative. I mean, there's a lot of negatives to take away, but I was kind of surprised Brian didn't pick Preston Smith. I know you said he only had 4 tackles, but his average depth of tackle was half a yard.
Well, it was more so that he missed 3 tackles. So
no, he didn't.
He missed contain on a couple too, which is kind of tough. But
he did miss 3 tackles. Damn. My bad. I'm wrong.
Yeah, you take it back.
Like that.
You take it back. You big meat.
Remember when Jake yelled at me last week when I was wrong?
I'm sorry.
I'm high.
Dingleberry.
Right
you guys were dropping D bombs.
I was highly emotional.
I was highly emotional. Yeah, I'm high, so I can be wrong. It's cool.
he had shoulder surgery.
Yeah,
prescription
high doesn't count.
Yeah.
And the last thing. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say it doesn't say on the bottle that you're supposed to snort the prescription though.
It's so it gets faster in the.
No, never mind. I'm not gonna say this.
I think we've said it a whole bunch of times.
Anally inserts it.
Is a more complete linebacker. Bernard, I don't think anybody thinks it was a mistake to bring Rodgers back. All right. Does anybody else have anything they want to say?
Last thing. This team, even though they got to Josh Allen twice. I think one he just ran out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage, so it was credited as a sack. But we had 20 pressures on him. 20. Rashawn Gary had 7.
Nice.
He was just. I mean, Josh Allen is just incredibly tough. He's just so athletic that if it was any other quarterback, I think we would have had like 4 or 5 sacks. But Josh Allen is he's just so tough to bring down.
There was one that
athletic.
He made Gary miss on what would have been a big sack, and then on that touchdown throw to Diggs, like he's getting like
he got lit up. He got
still
drilled.
Yeah,
there was a few throws like that, but that's also partially what helped create those interceptions too. Is he had guys in his face like all night almost, and so if we can keep up that consistent pressure, quarterbacks are gonna make mistakes, and that's something that we need to capitalize on more. So that's what I kind of had for the defense. Also, make a fucking tackle. Holy crap!
Yeah, just
this team has 66 missed tackles this year.
Yikes!
66.
That's fucking horrible.
They could have at least had 3 more to make us laugh about it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Hey, third missed tackle that happens this week. We're all going to be giggling.
No, probably not. I'll probably be angry. But,
depends if we're winning or not, I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, if it happens in the backfield, that'd be cool. So at least they're going backwards. All right. So, I mean, like you said, with tackling, just got to take better angles. Keep your eyes up. Don't try to put your head down and then lower your shoulder and jump at somebody. Keep your eyes up. Wrap around the legs. Wrap up and make the tackle. Stop trying to make arm tackles around the torso is the thing. All things considered, I said this, and I think you guys all agreed that I think this was the most fun game to watch since the Bears game. They won against the Buccaneers and they won against the Patriots. Those games were kind of stressful though. The Bears game was fun, obviously, because the Packers won that game pretty handily. But the Packers moved the ball on a good defense. They made some good plays on defense. They made some bad plays too. But, all things considered, it feels like the Packers at least had some rhythm. They also held Josh Allen to arguably his worst game of the season. They held a team that had been averaging 38.5 points at home in their last 6 home games to 27. So there's definitely lots of positive takeaways. The run game was going. Samori Toure got his first career touchdown, so that's good for him. So there's plenty of positive takeaways from this game. We're moving forward. And I'm going to let Bryant bring up the Packers and Lions injury report as long as his internet doesn't freeze.
Yeah. So this could go very poorly or very good for the Packers or in the middle. So obviously David Bakhtiari, that dude is a stud, man. He completely erased Von Miller. I'm just like, why? I just want him to be healthy. Like, I wish I could give him my knee. Mine aren't very healthy, but maybe they would help.
Yeah, you never tore your ACL. So
yeah. It's my feet, my Achilles, and my hips that are bad. My knees are okay.
God, you're an old man.
So, I know. I had my first VA appointment today. Okay. Drove 88 miles for a 14-minute appointment and then drove 88 miles back. Anyway,
how long did that take you? 3 hours?
Yeah, 3 hours. I had to drive through Washington, D.C. into Richmond. So anyways, back onto the Packers. So David Bakhtiari, I'm wondering, I know they did just a jog through on Wednesday, so I'm wondering if they just let him have an extra rehab day and then they didn't want him in pads on Thursday. Both him and Elton Jenkins practiced today and both listed questionable. Lazard is questionable, but it sounds like he's going to play because he's been practicing all week. He's practicing pads. Preston Smith is questionable. I haven't heard anything too concerning about him. And then Christian Watson, another one that, he was out there stretching on Wednesday, was in full pads Thursday, practiced again today. So I anticipate him being cleared as well. Kylan Hill hopefully will be activated, or is activated. So hopefully
he is activated. Yep.
I thought I seen that Chris Barnes was activated as well. I thought they said I know they returned him to practice, and then I thought I seen additionally that he was activated. Did you guys?
I know they opened his window. I know his window is open.
So if he can get on the field, that'd be huge if he can get on the field for us because we do have Devondre Campbell, Smarty Charles out again.
I was just about to look it up.
Yeah. So for the Lions, they have their secondary is beaten up. They have Chase Lucas, the cornerback, is out. Safety, I'm not even going to try to say the name. Ifatu Melifonwu. Yeah, that one. He's out. AJ Parker, another cornerback, is out. Josh Reynolds, our wide receiver, he's been playing okay. He's doubtful. DeAndre Swift is questionable, but I expect him to play. Another tight end is questionable, but it should play. And then Taylor Decker is questionable, but should probably play too. So now I think if we could probably get by if either Bach or Elton Jenkins are out, but if it comes Sunday and they're both out, I know that Lions have some of the fewest sack numbers in the league, but that wouldn't be great. That would not be ideal. Put it that way.
Yeah, their pass rush is in. I can't remember exactly what I saw. Go ahead.
The only person with is Aiden Hutchinson with 4.5 sacks on the year. Everyone else is 1. So I think they have 11 total sacks on the season. Something like that.
12.
Okay.
Aiden Hutchinson, he has 5.
ESPN lied to me.
ESPN lies to me too. Sometimes I ask you guys stat questions. And you're like, no, I found it like this. And I'm like
I said, a lot of the places, it just depends on where you look and how they count stuff too. So, he could very well have 4.5 sacks or whatever.
Chris Barnes had his return window opened. He has not been activated and elevated to the active.
Okay, that's what I thought I saw.
Yeah, his window is open, so he's got 3 weeks to come back.
Yeah, I don't think it's unfortunate. I'd love him to see him come back this week because I'd really like to see the dynamic of Walker and more coverage / rush the passer and Chris Barnes being the person, because we know that Chris Barnes, like, he ain't going to sit back and make a tackle at 5 years back. He's going to hit the hole and try to make that tackle in the hole. So we our defense is missing that. He was playing so well the week that he got hurt that they were running all the 3 linebackers. So I'm excited to get him back. And hopefully the fact that Devondre Campbell didn't go on IR or anything, I'm guessing it's a week or 2 thing. And then hopefully he'll be good.
So getting into this game, I looked at the touchdown drives for the Packers against Buffalo. They scored 2 touchdowns. One was about 3.5 minutes and one was 8.5 minutes. The 8-minute drive was great. It was capped by the touchdown to Romeo Doubs. The unfortunate thing with that is that it was bookended by 2 touchdowns by Buffalo. But that drive being bookended by touchdowns kind of makes me want to take away some of the credit that is given to the defense about being on the field too much. They had 8.5 minutes to rest after a touchdown drive and still gave up another touchdown. But that was in the first half. So you get into the second half, and overall, the Packers did win the time of possession battle, and the defense did play better in the second half. So I'm going to keep an eye on that to see if the offense being on the field for a long time, whether they score quick touchdown drives, short touchdown drives, or 3-and-outs, how that affects the defense. I'm going to keep a closer eye on that. But that 3.5-minute touchdown drive, Robert Tonyan, Romeo Doubs, the long touchdown to Toure, that was 8 plays, 95 yards in 3.5 minutes. 8 plays, and one of them was a 1-yard run, and one of them was a drop by Toure, which he made up for by scoring the touchdown. So it's essentially 6 plays to go 95 yards in 3.5 minutes.
Big boy drive.
That is, I love that. I want to see more of that. Big time.
Me too. It was a touchdown.
So I love seeing that from the Packers. I know Bryant wants to talk about tight ends. So I'm going to let Bryant talk about the tight ends.
Yeah, so I really think we need to see more involvement. And for those that don't know, Tonyan is leading our team in receptions. He has 35 on the year. He's on pace to has 286 already. He's on pace to have career highs in reception and yards. Where I really want to see the change is don't get me wrong, I love Mercedes Lewis and what he can do for this team. I think he needs to become like a red zone tight end. And I think we're getting there, to be honest. So Tonyan in this game had a 74% snap share. Lewis had a 33%, and DeGuara had a 45%. And to highlight the significance of that, before that, the 5 games before that, he had 13%, 7%, 14%, 15%, and 15%. So, like, he hadn't been on the field.
That game, I like that.
Yeah. So the fact that I think we need to start seeing him, DeGuara and Tonyan on the field together more, because he can block. He showed that. Like, he was wiping people out. And the fact that, you're talking about on that touchdown play where DeGuara went out wide, if that's a Lewis, they don't even, they're definitely know he's not getting the ball, right? Or very likely. Like, when was the last time Lewis split up wide? 15 years ago when I was in 6th grade? So that'd be pretty bad because I was 17 at that time. But anyway.
But that makes sense. It tracks.
So, but that's North Dakota school system. So I feel like we need to see DeGuara on the field more because he can block. He can work. He's shown that he can block. He can line up in the backfield, and he's more of a receiving threat than Lewis. I want Lewis on the field, but I want to see DeGuara more. So Tyler Davis was getting 25% the first 4 games. Last week he was down to 5% snaps, and I think that's because he doesn't add much to me. He could get up the seam maybe, but with Tonyan back,
he could be the guy to your question about who you keep off the active roster for the game. Tyler Davis could potentially be one.
That's a good point. That's why I just want to talk about them is maybe we start to save Lewis for red zone. Maybe we start running some 3 tight end sets. Good luck. Can you imagine trying to having AJ Dillon in the backfield with DeGuara, Lewis, and Tonyan blocking for him? That'd be fun. So I mean, if throwing Lazard in there too. So I just think we need to see. It's not because I said that he's one of my players I want to watch for the year, because I knew he wasn't going to go off for crazy, but I know he can basically take over Lewis's position. I feel like DeGuara definitely needs to see the field more, and I think we're going to see that happening, especially after that blocking display he put on. So
Yeah, that's totally fair. Jake is going to talk about the running back touches this week.
All right. The hot topic of running back touches, which has been talked about for 8 straight weeks now.
Every single week.
and the preseason. First of all, I want to talk about how Dylan got 10 carries, 54 yards. He had a 27-yard long. So that was nice to see him break a tackle and actually run for over 3 yards. Then Aaron Jones, obviously, he was our number one star this week. He was phenomenal. Even without scoring a touchdown, he felt like the best player on offense for the entirety of the game. The thing I wanted to talk about, the thing with Aaron Jones is he's the engine. These running backs both have to be the engine. And I wanted to talk about how they had 35 touches total. So, I mean, that's the way that this offense has to go, is giving them the ball, running the ball, ball control, and letting these young guys catch up when they can catch up. I'm going to make a prediction about the running backs because I wanted to predict their touches for this week. I'm predicting Aaron Jones to touch the ball 25 times and A.J. Dillon to touch it 17 times. I think we're going to score some points.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think that's that outrageous.
I think 17 for Dillon is a little high.
17 touches total, catching the ball and running the ball.
I know. I'd say more like maybe 13.
But what was it? Last week he had what, 12?
11.
11, and then Aaron Jones had what, 23?
24.
24. So that's not that far off.
I'm with you on 25. I think 17 is a little high for Dillon.
I feel like I need an AJ Dillon.
So this isn't a question of if it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
I feel that.
now watch them have a total of 13 combined touches this
Oh
game.
my god!
I'll be like, I gotta stay out of the chat. Tyler's gonna be insufferable today.
Wait till my
next week. Hey,
I told
Tyler,
you guys. I get tired of
sick.
saying "I told you so" every time.
Dude, it's funny because that actually
Actually
plays right into my that actually plays right into my Simon Says, because I kind of feel like there's a chance they just want to chuck it around the yard again. So we'll get to that though.
Actually kind of plays into what I was going to talk about.
Well, I'm not giving anything away because we still have to do matchups and X Factors. So save that for that.
All right, Jake, you still want to talk about tight ends or fourth downs? I mean, tight ends was Brian. Fourth downs.
I do want to talk about fourth downs. So we throw the ball on fourth down, people bitch. We run the ball on fourth down, people bitch. What the fuck else can we do? You got two options. You can either run the ball. You could do that.
Oh, but wait, Pat O'Donnell gets pressured more than any other punter, so we got to bitch about that too.
Has the lowest hang time now because he's under pressure constantly.
So listen to this. We have a fourth down percentage of 18%. That is fucking horrible. And yes, it is last. Last year, 59%. We were 9th in the NFL. So
ew.
There was 8 more people better than 59%. Wow, that's a lot more impressive.
It wasn't the Ravens. I'll
tell you that much. So
what happened on?
I would fix fourth downs is running the pony package. I think that's the way to go. You leave yourself 2 receiving options in the backfield if shit breaks down. You can run the ball with either guy. We can use A.J. Dillon as a lead blocker like we've seen work. I mean, not for a while, but there's that option. I would have Tanyan tight to the line in the pony package, and I would have if he's available, and I'm not saying anything bad, I would have Watson out wide for that speed option, that speed threat on fourth downs. That's the package that I would run on fourth down, on a 4th and 3, because you have speed, you can run the ball, you have Tanyan, the guy who has your most receptions, probably most reliable hands. There's just so many more things you can do with the pony package, but I just want people to stop bitching about the fourth down play selection. You run it, you throw it, we don't get it. Listen,
it's literally an example of you're never going to make everybody happy. That'll tie really well into Bryant wanting to talk about the trade deadline, but that's perfect example.
Yeah, Brian, go ahead, buddy.
What happened on the 4th and 3 play? I can't remember.
We ran the
I know I wasn't that upset with it because I think
we didn't even gain anything.
Yeah, we got Aaron Jones got hit in the backfield.
But it's like, we ran that RPO. Yeah, we ran. I mean, but we've run RPOs on fourth downs, and Rodgers has chosen to throw the ball. I mean, Dubs dropped one. I mean, shit happens. It's not going to be perfect.
Yeah.
We're not going to pick up every
it's gotta
fourth
be
down.
better.
It does have to be better. I agree with that, but
I'm not upset about us going for it at all in that position.
No,
we knew we had to score. We knew we had to score against that team. It hurt. The only thing that hurt was it flipped the field position, and they quickly scored pretty quickly after that. So the trade deadline, I know you guys were a little more calm, but obviously I was more upset with it. My problem was it was just disheartening to see the Packers not do anything when the team's in front of you. It was only Philly. When I look back at it, take a deep breath and actually look at it, it was only Philly and Minnesota in the NFC that actually made a move. Newsflash, they're too far ahead of us. I'm not even thinking about the division anymore. I'm on let's get a win, try to put some wins together and just make it to playoffs, because I literally think anyone in the NFC can win it this year, or not win it, get through the NFC. So it was a little disheartening because I started to think of does this mean the Packers, the front office, didn't really feel like we were only one player away? And maybe it was smart that they didn't pay it. And then you hear that because the Bears suck so much, that's why we didn't get Claypool, because they offered the same pick. Granted, we could have offered another pick. And then you hear what Houston wanted for Brandon Cooks at 2 and a 4. No way with the money that he's owed. There's no chance. Anyone that wanted to do that, no. And the fact that it doesn't sound like they were willing to take a bunch of the money on. And then I heard today from a different podcast that I listened to, that the Packers were in on an offensive player that no one, there was no news around him or anything about getting traded, but the deal was done and the other team pulled out at the last second. It was with Andy Herman and Mike Wall on their show today. They talked about it. It was brought up, and I was like, interesting. We'll probably never hear about it because, the Packers are doing the gentlemanly thing and not putting that news out there that the team was considering trading someone. So I don't know. Maybe it could have been DJ Moore, but there's a little smoke around
DJ
there.
Moore is the one that I would get the vibes on.
We heard a little bit about Jerry Jeudy as well. So I'm wondering, well, we've heard about those players, so maybe there's someone else. I couldn't really pinpoint. The only move that I wish we kind of would have done, and you guys probably will disagree with me on this, but if we don't think we're going to get it done this year, I would have loved us to see us ship a fifth for Calvin Ridley. For one, he didn't get a accrued year this year because he missed.
They traded a second and a fifth. The fifth round, the second round pick is conditional. It's a fourth round pick. It's a third round if he plays out his contract, and it's a second if they sign him to an extension.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fine. If he plays that well that we sign him to extension, Calvin Ridley's a stud. So I would have liked to see that one happen, but it is what it is. But to hear we were in everything, it's not our fault that Chicago is such a dumpster fire that they're like, no, we're going to take their pick because we know it's going to be it should be a higher pick, right? And we could have thrown something else in, but just think about it. If say Chicago's picking top 3 and we're picking 15, you're talking about whatever pick value that's what Steelers need to be thinking of, right?
It's massive.
What's the pick value to get from the 15th pick in the second round to the third pick? You're talking probably another fourth. So we would probably have had to do throw in a fourth or a fifth. So it's fine. And Chase Claypool is a nice player.
If Chicago finishes the rest of the season really poorly, the Steelers are already bad. The Steelers might have 2 top 5 picks next year.
Yeah, in the second round. So I'm fine with it. It sucks. I hope we can. The first thing we need to do is worry about a team. For me, the next, for sure, I don't know if you agree with me, but Sunday's a must win. We have to win on Sunday. This team has to get a win and switch it. And I think we talked about this a little bit in our chat. I think we need to probably go on a little 3-game winning streak here before we go into Philly. Get to 5-5, 6-5 before we head into Philly, and then we can start talking about possibly if Brandon Cooks broke free and we can get him in, or maybe OBJ is ready to play at that time.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens. So that the trade deadline. The only other thing that I was thinking about is we heard Barry came out today or yesterday talking about how they know that Savage would be a great corner, or they believe that he would be a great corner nickelback, but we don't have the safety depth that we feel like good moving him. Why the hell didn't you trade for a safety then, or look for one? Just a serviceable player. Because right now, in my opinion,
Dean Marlowe that the Bills picked up right at the deadline.
Yeah, exactly. Because find a serviceable one, because at this point, that's hardly what Savage is. So if you feel like you could make this defense better by moving him into the corner nickelback position, then you make a trade for a serviceable safety. And don't tell me that Rudy Ford can't play, because he's actually our highest graded safety in the few snaps that he's gotten this year, according to PFF, if you go by their grades. So for them to say, well, we don't like what we're seeing there, no, I don't care. Like, it can't get much worse. So you could have went and picked up someone, even it wouldn't have been big play, or everyone would have been like, what the heck, we don't need a safety. But if that you think that's what's going to change our defense, and having someone competent back there might help Amos play better, like that could have been a small move. That could have been a small move that really snowballed into a big move. So it's just like, just do something. Like, you know, that meme where it's like poking with a stick, like, come on, do something. Like, but you know, if they feel okay, it is what it is. Maybe they don't feel like they're close, or maybe they try, but it just didn't work out. So
I mean, Gutekunst has been pretty active in the buyout market the last couple of years, so it's definitely something to keep an eye on, especially if they start winning. That they'll definitely look to be adding players, like you said, like an OBJ, or if Cooks gets bought out, or you know.
And it sounds like Aaron Rodgers was involved in it. So for everyone freaking out, Aaron, I think he came out and said, like, he said some of the compensation that it took to get some of those players, it makes sense that they didn't make a move.
Mm-hmm.
So
like a second and a third for Judy, like I like Judy, but that's too high of a price.
And this is where kind of my comment earlier on, like, hey, if the trade deadlines move 2 more weeks and maybe Chase Claypool gets back and they're not playing that well, or they're playing fine, or, you know, Seattle loses a few games in a row, that opens up like a Tyler Boyd / Tyler Lockett situation. But it's just, the deadline is the deadline right now, and there's just nothing that could be done, or that
especially with adding that 17th game. I think that's cause for a reason to move the trade deadline back a week or two.
I will say the trade deadline, like the trade what's the word I'm looking for? The philosophy on trades has changed. There's 12 trades this year. There's a lot of trades this year during the trade deadline. So I think we'll see more, and maybe eventually Green Bay will get involved. Maybe they'll still continue the Packers' way. It just sucks because the last 2 Super Bowl champions have made trades / moves in season. So it's proven that like is needed, but I don't know that we're really there right now. Anyway, like we talked about that, like
that's
one
part of it too, is the uncertainty. Enough. That's why I feel like if they string some wins together, that they could get active in the buyout market.
Yep. So,
all right. So I want to talk about wide receivers now that we're continuing kind of on this trend of talking about wide receivers, but I want to talk about wide receiver playing time. And I talked about Amari Rodgers in the recap, and when Simon brought up maybe Sammy Watkins being left off for this week, Sammy Watkins is going to get more playing time this week. If this is a big if, I'm not saying it's going to happen, and I don't have it predicted this way, but if the Packers were somehow to lose to the Lions this week, and we're looking at 3-6 with more tough games coming, I essentially would want to see Sammy Watkins cut. And you immediately put all of your youngest wide receivers in the game as much as you possibly can. Obviously, Allen Lazard is still your number one guy. And then you're looking at Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, Samori Toure, all rookies, and Amari Rodgers, a second-year player. And you put all of them on the field as often as possible to find out what you have in all of them. This is the same philosophy I have with the Brewers next year. Put them all out there together. Find out what you have. Don't do this one at a time shit. We're going to see what this guy's got for 2 games. Then we're going to see what this guy's got for 2 games. Then we're going to see what this guy's got for 2 games. Put them all out there. Find out what you have. Samari was making plays when he's on the field. Amari Rodgers was making plays when he's on the field as a wide receiver. I will say, I do think Amari Rodgers is a better blocker than Samori Toure. Samori Toure is the more athletic player, but give them experience. If you're looking at a season where you're 3-6 and, like I said, more tough games coming, put these guys in there and get them some experience. I don't know if you guys agree with me on that.
No, I agree. Rodgers could have had another play. Amari could have, if that ball doesn't get tipped. That's another 10, 12 yards right there. He's already surpassed what he had it's not great. He's only got 50 yards on the season, but that's more than he had all of last year.
That's what, 4 catches?
4 catches so he's averaging 12.5 yards a catch. Obviously people are we're down on him. And don't get me wrong, I do not think he should be on punt return. Like if we're gonna play him offensively, fine, put him there, and then let Dobbs or maybe Toure try that out. I think it's just something in his psyche. Look, psyche and mentality are, your psyche is a big thing in sports and really anything that you do in life, right? It's clear that Amari doesn't feel 100% comfortable returning punts at this point. So, like, maybe that's holding him back a little bit because he's thinking about that constantly. Maybe we just need to make a change for his psyche and his mental health and let him just go be a wide receiver and see what he can bring to our game that way.
That was one of my things last week too, is stick to what guys are doing well.
And I don't want to, as Aaron Rodgers says, put it into the stratosphere or whatever that we're going to lose. And we can talk about this more, but I'm in agreement with you. If we lose next year, or if we lose this week and we fall to 3-6, I'm not saying obviously we're never going to tank because we have an Aaron Rodgers team. But you know what? If we go 6-10 or 11 or 7-10, which would suck, you know what I mean? But guess what? We're going to have a little bit of a softer schedule. Not really. We're probably still going to finish in the division second in the division at 7-10. But maybe it's just a reset we need and we make one more big push with Aaron Rodgers. And I'm not cashing the season by any stretch of imagination.
Oh, no,
I feel like we can go on a 3-game win streak here before we go into Philly and then see what happens. I get that Tennessee is a tough game. I get that Dallas will be a tough game, but those are in Lambeau and we need to win our games in Lambeau. So let's get this dub this weekend and go from there.
I don't think Philly's unbeatable either.
I don't either. Yeah.
So you know how bad we are at tackling? They're worse somehow. They have 82 missed tackles this year.
No, but they're better than the Bills. Just ask everybody on on a certain page. I won't name them.
I think Philly is a great team, and they have a very versatile offense.
And they're the best in the NFC.
Their defense is very beatable.
I agree. The Packers match up well with them too, actually.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to Philly when we get there, but I was just throwing that out there. Like,
I just really hope we can roll into Philly at 6-5. Like, I would feel so.
If they roll into Philly at 6-5 and leave Philly with a W, it's fucking on.
Look out!
It's fucking on, dude. Because then Aaron Rodgers is hot. That's all I'm saying.
So we got to get there first.
So,
I feel like we can.
Jake, give me the matchup you're watching for the Packers offense against Detroit's defense.
All right, matchup I'm watching is Aaron Jones versus the Lions' 30th ranked rush defense. I think that's the key to the game. They are also 32nd in points, by the way. So there was a stat thrown out there by a Lions fan talking about how Aaron Jones has 7 touchdowns in 7 career games against the Lions. And they only came in 2 games. He had 1 game where he had 3 touchdowns and 1 game where he had 4 touchdowns. Okay. I'll take one of those games this week, buddy. Give me 3 touchdowns for Aaron Jones.
Oh, no.
Wait till we get to my Simon Says. You motherfucker.
Sorry.
Simon, what's the matchup you're watching?
So I have actually Aaron Rodgers versus the Lions defense. The Lions defense is giving up 8.4 yards per attempt passing. 8.4. And they're allowing 108.5 passer rating, which is last.
Too. That's not per reception. That's per
attempt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they're 28th in pass rushing grade and 32nd in coverage grade per Pro Football Focus. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a fucking field day. He's going to have enough time to throw. These young wide receivers are going to have time to get open. And even if they don't, I think we're going to start seeing that improvisation from some of the pass catchers.
If that's the case, then maybe a big Tanyan game.
I actually that's going to be one of my Simon Says.
All right, Brian, what's the matchup you're watching before we get into
to go in with Simon? I'm actually watching our wide receiver versus secondary. Look, they have the highest passer rating, giving up 108 in the league. They're giving up 266 yards per game. They've given up 12 touchdowns with only 2 interceptions. Like Simon said, the highest yards per average. They have the second fewest sacks in the league. They're allowing the 3rd most rushing yards per game and the 2nd most touchdowns. They've given up 13 rushing touchdowns in seven games. And then they're allowing 32.1 points per game, which is 11 more than Green Bay and 5 more than the 2nd worst in the league. And then they're allowing a league worst 421 yards. If our offense can't get it done against this team, Like I'm sorry,
Well,
but
and we're in a dome, so there's no
Yeah.
weather aspect. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like this is the week, Aaron. Put this shit together.
James,
Yeah.
you're right. No team is unbeatable.
Today's the day.
Jared, welcome in. We got a little bit left on the preview, and then we're done. But I like Bill's projection. Jones is going to have at least 3 touchdowns, along with 1 each for Tanyan and Dubs.
Oh,
Totally
let's
down
go.
for that.
Yeah, I'm down.
Oh
yeah,
go to the
agreed,
defense.
James.
Bryant wants to talk about the secondary, and Simon's going to talk about the pass rush pressure. So I'm going to let Bryant go first on the secondary.
Yeah, so secondary, it's like a love-hate relationship. I swear I love Ja. And he is playing outstanding since that change. In those three games since the change, he has that interception and 7 pass defenses. Since they changed that, where they only had 7 pass defenses through like the first 5 games of the season, I think they've had 6 pass defenses. Yeah, they've had like 6 pass defenses plus every game since then. So, but the problem is, really, when you look around the secondary, the only one I feel like that's playing actually well is Ja. Eric Stokes is taking a step back. I don't know why. I don't know if it's scheme.
It's in zone coverage. He's not good in.
Rasul Douglas, Stokes got pulled off the field for Rasul Douglas. Rasul Douglas gets burned for a touchdown like the very next play. He had the interception. So those two are showing flashes, but I really do think I don't want to keep harping on Savage. I kind of feel like he's my new Royce Newman, but he has just been playing so bad, and Amos has been playing pretty rough too. So Savage per PFS has the lowest coverage grade in the NFL and the 5th worst tackling grade. So he just sucks at everything right now. Like he needs to. What's he good at? Like tell me the last.
Why do I feel like we're talking about Royce Newman again? Like, this is exactly the same thing you said.
You know what I feel like?
What is he good at?
Yeah, exactly. And then look what happened. They got rid of his ass and we played better. Tell me the last splash play that Darnell Savage made. Come on. Tell me.
I have no fucking
It's been
idea.
like 2 years. Okay? He's not good enough for coverage. We need him to be making those splash plays and turning over the ball. Like you said, Tyler. Like he's just kind of looking at the wide receiver. Like get in there and make a play, dude. I will get over the fact that you suck at some stuff if you like turn over the ball and you make up for it. Like
I would rather have you make a pass interference penalty by going after the ball than to watch a receiver catch the ball.
Yeah.
All right. Thinking about it, I think he had a tackle for a loss against like New England.
Great.
Or he hit like Devontae Parker in the backfield or something.
No, right. You're right. Oh, you're right.
That was the last one I could think of.
He just puts his head down and like chicken wings it. Like and then you still see the stuff. James Cook's big play of 41-yard reception. Guess who's in coverage? Not Savage. Preston Smith is in coverage. And, like Preston Smith or James Cook is not going to work. So the cornerbacks are playing well, and they really did have a good time. Or a good, like overall, the secondary had a good game against Josh Allen. He had a rough game, but it's like those don't paint the whole picture. Like it's just the tackling has been so bad, and if they're going to sit here and say that, hey, he could be a great nickel cornerback, then play him there and put Rudy Ford, who's showing flashes. Rudy Ford has played, you know what? He might miss a tackle, but he's playing 100 miles an hour every time he's on the field. Or even Keyshawn Nixon has played damn well. I know he's not a safety, right? Or he's a cornerback, right? But whatever we need to do, like this idea that he just needs to, nope. I got the sense of basically what Barry was saying. Yeah, we know it's broken, but we're not going to do anything about it. So we'll see if they change it this weekend.
Bill asked if it's Barry or the players, and honestly, I think it's both.
You've heard all the stuff coming out about Barry and some of the players getting upset with the scheme this week and stuff. But hey, look, I know we're kind of sighing at that, but that came from Rob Domofsky, and he doesn't.
I know. I hate stuff like that because.
Yeah.
I mean, I do trust Domofsky to report all the right stuff, but who knows how fucking true that is? As far as like impact it has, like that could be a one-off comment from a player, or it could be the whole fucking team talking about it. You know,
it was he got it from one source and it was confirmed from another. But look, this Lions defense, our offense, as bad as their defense is, their offense is almost just as good. They put up a lot of yards. They're explosive. So now they did just trade TJ Hawkinson, who is their leading receiver when you talk about yards. So we'll see if they're a little down. And then they had some, like, I think a coach got fired or something this week. They've been infighting.
Their
or something like that.
defensive backs, yeah.
Yeah.
And they replaced him with the safety coach.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. But we just need our secondary needs to tackle.
Simon, what are you thinking about the pass rush pressure?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have like a really cool stat or anything. Not this time.
Like a cool stat, like 7 missed tackles.
Like, yeah, something like
that. You know what that?
Okay. So I don't have a cool stat as far as like our pressure or anything. But over the last few games, they've been in the quarterback's face like consistently. And I know a lot of like I think Jake and I were kind of having this safety versus outside linebacker depth thing, but I like Enagbare. I think he's shown a little bit over the last few weeks to where that concern, the level that I had for the outside linebackers past Preston and Gary, is starting to like get a little bit lower. But they've been consistently getting to the quarterback's face, and I feel like this is going to be a really good game. Taylor Decker is not having a great season. I think he's allowed 22 pressures on the year, which is pretty gross. Goff has 13 turnover-worthy plays, and that's the second most among quarterbacks this season. So I feel like
number 1.
I don't know off the top of my head. I saw that somewhere.
It's got to be either Justin Fields, Matt Ryan, or Trevor Lawrence. It's got to be one of those 3.
It honestly could be Josh Allen. He's thrown quite a few interceptions.
He's had a little bit of issue with turning the ball over this season. So I feel like there's opportunities for this pass rush to create so much disruption, even if we don't get to Jared Goff, to make him make decisions faster in his brain than what can comprehend what's going on in the field. And that allows our secondary to grab interceptions, or he holds the ball too long and he just gets a fumble. So I'm pretty excited to watch the pass rushers this game.
Yeah, they've given up like 15 sacks through 7 games, so like just over 2 a game. So
the thing with Jared Goff that differentiates him from Kirk Cousins is that Kirk Cousins, when he feels pressure, he gets rid of the ball. That is something I will give Kirk Cousins credit for, is he does not take a lot of sacks.
Yep.
He gets rid of the ball. That's why he's in the category of Rodgers where he has the high touchdown, low turnover numbers. He just hasn't gotten to the lofty, 40 plus touchdowns, less than 5 interceptions. He's more around that like 33-7 area. Jared Goff is not that guy. So I do think there's opportunity, like you said, opportunity for the Packers. Jake or Brian, did you guys want to say anything about the Packers defense against Detroit's offense?
I just know that the last couple of weeks, I think it was the last 3 weeks, I saw this stat. The Lions have had the lowest points per game with 11. So they've scored 11 points per game.
They got shut out by the Patriots, so that'll help.
So that'll help.
Yeah, I'll just say we really need to slow down the running game on first down, like first and early downs. So I just hope we see some. Like, I really want to see like Wyatt, Clark, and Slayton out there at the same time. Just have a beefy front line, and just I love Jaron Reed. He's having a good season, but he's more of a pass rusher. Yeah.
I talked about the beef a couple weeks ago. We need beef up front, boy.
And
I kind of want to see us sit Lowry.
Sit Lowry.
Like I want to see more Wyatt on the field.
Well, if we don't sit Lowry, whatever offensive lineman he's across from, we'll sit him on his ass. So.
So, Brian, what's the matchup you're watching for the Packers defense against Detroit's offense?
Yeah, like I just said, I'm watching our defensive line, specifically on early downs, trying to slow down the run game. If we can get them in second and long and pressure Goff, I feel like they're going to have a really rough time. If we let them average 5 yards, 6 yards per carry on first down, we're going to let them stay in the game the entire time. So,
Jake, what's the matchup you're watching?
All right, so they traded T.J. Hawkinson, right? So the next best option in my mind on that offense as a receiver is Amon-Ra St. Brown. So the matchup I'm watching is Rasul Douglas versus Amon-Ra St. Brown. Whoever wins that matchup is going to tell a lot about this game.
And I'm putting Jair Alexander on Amon St. Brown if I'm.
He's in the slot a lot though. That's
I get it. He's a small receiver too. So
yeah.
All right, Simon, what's the matchup you're watching?
Yeah, I got the pass rushers. I'm looking for them to take advantage of opportunities.
Can you tell that those two are best friends and we're best friends? You guys have the same answer. We had pretty much the same answer.
I feel like Simon and Bryant, they do their notes a lot like how when people take drinks and they like interlock their arms and then they like drink together. Like, that's how Simon and Bryant take their notes.
I whisper my notes in his ear while we spoon while we fall asleep.
My Simon says this week is Devontae Wyatt's going to have 8 sacks.
What did you say about sacks? All right, we're gonna skip the weather report this week because Jake's weather report this week would just be that they're in a dome and that's it. So let's get into keys of victory. My key to victory is to move the ball. The Packers had 9 guys with receptions last week, so move the ball, spread the ball around. Obviously, gain yards, but spread the ball around. The Packers have playmakers, and it sounds like pretty much everybody on the offense is good to go, up to and including Kylan Hill. So you got guys. Use them all. Get the ball to everybody. Detroit's defense, like Bryant said, they're giving up all of the yards. They're giving up all of them. All of the yards. And all of the points. So move the ball, spread the ball around. Simon, what's your key to victory?
I have to be honest, I didn't make one. Our key to it.
I need to think of it.
He's so high right now.
Yeah, walked up in.
Jake, what is your key to victory?
Don't get shoulder surgery. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
My key to victory is Aaron Jones. Let him touch the ball. Let Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon dictate this game. That's what I got.
Bryant, what's your key to victory?
So if you recall the last 2 games against Detroit, we've been coming from behind. No jokes there. God damn it. All 3 of your faces just changed. We'll never get sponsored.
Less than 2 minutes ago, you're talking about spooning with Simon, and now you're talking about coming from behind.
Okay.
God, we're so getting canceled for today's show.
So my key to victory is starting fast, okay? Not finishing fast, Simon. Starting fast.
Oh my fucking God.
Anyways,
I'm surprised there's 5 people still watching us live.
There's no way any of them are listening to us anymore.
Anyway, so we can't. The reason I say this is because if they get out to a 14-point lead, I don't know that I trust our offense enough to play catch up. So if we let them, get out to a couple, 2-score lead, we might be in a little bit of trouble. So my key is just to go punch to punch with them and kind of wear them down a little bit. Start fast.
I don't think I trust our defense enough to stop the run if they get ahead. They're averaging 5.2 yards per rush.
Yeah.
And DeAndre Swift is – I don't know how much they're going to use DeAndre Swift this week. They used him kind of minimally last week. But Jamal Williams also has 8 touchdowns on the year. He's having a pretty killer year, too.
He's had a couple of multi-touchdown
games. Josh Reynolds isn't going to play. Yeah. He's been sneakily one of their better receivers, especially in the absence of Amon-Ra St. Brown. So
Khalif Raymond's had a couple big plays.
That is actually too. A blow to their offense.
Yeah.
So, Bryant, how many Simon Says you have this week?
3 awesome ones.
Jake, how many do you have?
1.
All right. I have 2. So, Bryant, give me 1.
Okay, so this is my first one. I like this one. The Packers haven't played a game where either team has scored over 30 points this year. Both teams score over 30 points this game. There's not been one game where we scored 30 or our defense gave up 30.
No.
Yeah, that is true, huh? That's a good one. Both teams score over 30. I could see it, yeah. I'm going to give that a thumbs up.
Shootout. Old-fashioned shootout.
I mean, that's not what I have, but I can see it.
Yeah, that's why it's a bold prediction, right? Bold prediction.
My first one kind of ties into that, I guess, and this would be more about scoring prevention. But my first one is 3 passes defense for Jair Alexander.
Yes.
He does that weekly. Now that we changed it up.
Zone defense last week. Why isn't Diggs following Diggs? Whatever. This again, you're not going to keep everybody happy all the time. Brian, give me another one.
Okay, so Roger, I know we're talking about run the ball, right? And every time we do this, we're like, no. What's that meme? It's like, no, I don't think I will. Matthew McConaughey or Captain America.
Oh, that's Steve Rogers.
Captain America. No, I don't think I will. So I put Rodgers beats his season high of 255 passing yards by 100 and doubles his touchdown by 100. Or doubles by
100.
Yeah, by 100. Let's go.
So yeah, he's throwing 102 touchdowns this game. So basically, I'm saying that Rodgers goes for 355 and 4 touchdowns.
No.
Yeah.
You can see that he wants to.
I do want to because I love Rodgers in this game.
If you say yes to this, I'll never trust you again.
He's high.
355 and 4 touchdowns, bro.
No.
I should have changed the caption to Hyman says.
No, I can't do it.
That was really good, bro. So mine's more of a question, but I'm interested in what you're going to say.
Okay.
Better game, Swift or Jones?
I'm going to say Jones, but only because I'm unsure. Like I said, I'm unsure of how much they're going to utilize Swift because they're still I feel like they're still slowly bringing him back into the offense.
Yeah.
And I feel like their split between Swift and Williams is a lot closer in regular offense than ours is to Dillon and Jones.
Yeah, I just think that there's more opportunities for Swift to catch the ball with Hockenson gone and with Josh Reynolds out this week probably.
That's true. I'm still gonna go Jones. I'm gonna go Jones.
My last one is very Aaron Jones, very Aaron Jones heavy. 200 scrimmage yards and 3 touchdowns.
Whoa. You better not say yes to this one either. I don't know if I see that one either.
No, there's no way.
200 yards.
God, that'd be crazy.
But he's done
what
it.
What do you have against the Bears? He had
It was like 170 something. Total.
Yeah.
He had 177, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to say no. 200 is a lot. You said 3 TDs?
3 touchdowns.
Yeah, if you said 150, I'd probably just say yes. But, yeah, 200 is a lot.
He's on pace for about 63 receptions, so I need him to have a couple 7 or 8 reception games so he can hit my 80 reception.
Did you say 75?
I said 80. I said I could see him having 80, and one of my bold predictions was 80. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's tough.
Okay.
All right, Brian, give me your last one.
Okay, this predicates on Christian Watson playing, but I said that the rookie wide receivers, so Dobbs, Turi, and Christian Watson, combined for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns.
That's what I say.
Yeah, you think?
I see that one. It's way better than his Aaron Rodgers one.
Yeah.
If they combine,
phenomenal, bro. Your first one was phenomenal.
If they combine for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns, Aaron Rodgers is going for over 300 for sure.
Yeah.
I hope they're all right, and then you can.
I hope they are all right, and you can call me a.
I think no. I think no.
You think no?
No, I don't. I don't think so. I think we're still, even though I think they like to utilize Watson and try and get him the ball, I don't think he's consistently getting in enough yet, and I still don't think Toure is going to get as much playing time as we want to see him. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you on Toure, but I think if there's a week you're going to try to turn Watson loose down the field, I think doing it against the worst secondary in the league is the time to do it.
I'm for it, but it's tough because we haven't quite seen it yet, and that's the hard part.
I mean, we saw it in the first play of the season; it just didn't
right,
turn out the way we
but
wanted it to.
then there's no build up to that either.
True.
I mean, he didn't play in training camp and then made that play on the first play of the year. So, I mean, there's no build up there either.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'm just
the
playing the devil's
opportunity
advocate.
is probably going to be there for it to happen. I just don't know if I see it happening.
All right, so let's do some score predictions. Simon, or do you have a Simon Says? Simon Says. Did you make some bold predictions while you were high?
Yeah. I had Bobby going. I had Bobby going for 80 and 2 touchdowns.
That's not bad.
Ooh, I like
actually.
that.
See that. That's not bad.
I like that.
Because he's getting the opportunity in the red zone too this year. Rodgers is looking for him. He's having a pretty solid year as far as catches goes.
Yeah, I remember people whining about him after week 3. It's like he's back early from an ACL injury. Let him fucking get healthy.
Like I said a couple weeks ago, I think he's turning it up in this offense.
I brought it up too. I'm like, he's already at, like, it was a couple weeks ago that I brought this up. But through week 5, he's already where he was through week 8 last year.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that he's continuing to progress. And then he had his 10 catch game. So
is that
I'm good with that one.
Yeah.
All right. Ooh, Bill said 35-17 Packers. I like it. But let's do score predictions from the head first. Simon, give me your score prediction from the head.
I got 30-27 Packers.
30-27? All right. Jake, give me your score prediction from the head.
31-24, the same exact score that was in Detroit on the run the table year.
Okay.
I like it.
What about the Hail Mary?
I didn't look at that one.
I don't want a heart attack.
No, I think the Hail Mary was on the run the table year.
No.
No, it's different here.
No, because that was a Thursday night football game.
Yep.
You're right. The Hail Mary was in 2015. The run table was in 2016.
That was that ended up being like a 28-22 game or something like that. It was something weird.
Yeah.
Brian, what's your score prediction from the head?
24-21.
Close. I have 28-21 from the head. From the heart, 33-17 Packers. Brian, what's your score prediction from the heart?
31-17 Packers.
Pretty close. Pretty close to Bill, too. He said 35-17. Jake, what's your score prediction from the heart?
I guess we're all picking 17 because I have 38-17.
Nice.
38. Oh,
Go
God.
Put this up, Simon.
38.
No, I had 35-16.
No,
I swear to God.
Did you really?
I swear to God, I didn't change it. And that's what I had written down. I swear.
You're such a dickhead, man. We all picked 17. Even a person commenting picked 17. You're like, nope, 16.
Billy,
16, no higher.
You're taking my spot on the show, bud.
Dude,
That's over.
Man.
You can go ahead, Tyler. Do the honors.
It'd be hilarious
awesome.
if the score was 16
Fired.
points.
Oh my God.
I hope they scored 16 3/4.
So, my heart, what was it? Last week, my heart or whatever prediction, I was close. I said 28-17.
Let me see.
I'll have to look at what mine was.
You did say 28-17.
I don't know what I said. What did I say?
Bryant, from the head, you said 31-14 Bills. And then from the heart, you said 24-20. I
said 31-23 from the head and 24-23 from the heart.
Yep, on the block extra point.
Yep.
And then I also said 24-20 from the heart. I said 34-24 from the head.
I think that's kind of why I was excited too. Is like I pretty much knew we were probably going to lose that game, but I wanted to see stuff, and I feel like we saw a lot of things that we talked about too, and improvements that we talked about as well. I think that's kind of the exciting part about that. Why I found the Bills to be an exciting game to watch.
So I felt good coming out of that game. But what was also concerning me is like we did everything we said we needed to do to win that game, and we still lost by 10. We controlled China's possession. We won the turnover battle. Like we ran the ball. I was just like, oof. We still lost.
I'll say this though, the turnover we had gave them a really short field.
Yeah.
Also, we got a touchdown negated. So if you take those two two plays away,
exactly.
we have a chance to win.
Exactly, like I talked about earlier, like that one batted one, and then that touchdown taken away. If they don't take that touchdown away from Tunyon, and that's you add 4 points, we don't kick that field goal with Crosby. We're going for the win there. We're going down the, you know what I mean? So, it's really unfortunate, and I don't want to blame the refs, but that's just 2 weeks in a row that 2 touchdowns have been taken off the board for us. And if that one against Washington stands, I'm sorry, but we win that game because we're rolling again. So it's just unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you guys want to throw out there?
Drew Holiday should no longer be underrated in the NBA.
Yeah.
We should just know that he's good. We should just know he's good at this point. That's all I'll say.
All right.
Let's cheer for the Packers. Let's go Pack go. If they don't win on Sunday,
people who get hurt.
Yeah. Hey, and I hope Watson goes off for everyone that was saying that crap this last week.
All righty. Well, I'm sure we'll talk to you guys on Sunday. Let's get a win for the Packers. Let's get the losing streak over.
Yes, sir.
Please.
All righty. See you guys on Sunday. Thanks everybody for sticking with us for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Johnny.